What's up, fellas? You know the drill. Getting these freaking... hold on. Let me not click the stage. It would be a real shame if I clicked the stage too early. Or one of the previous stages. Get in the sewers, dogs. What's up? There's so much powder that I've had to order in a rush of more powder. That's right. Our noses sufficiently powdered. I've got Rito getting all dolled up right now. I'm coming in for my pre-show address as usual, where I come in and say, "Have you seen any good movies?" Ha ha ha! That is a good movie. That kind of thing. Also, let me make sure that I've disabled the ability to be naughty. You know what I mean? I love when you be naughty, but on designated naughty days, this isn't one of them. We're doing 2 foxholes in a row. Can you believe that? Papa Foxy's been at work grinding, and then now another foxhole straight into the works. We're in the trenches these days for good interviews. What's the VIP claim? Oh, it's just it was just the insane notion that, hey, I want to have the VIP badge specifically on this thing. So it's just like, people have their VIPs up there for a lot, so you get to speak your mind. It's not really anything special, because honestly, I might even delve it out for free someday. Let me make the... Oh, that's not it. The channel points. Bam. All my really good ones. Yeah, VIP is still... I just leave VIP up so it doesn't, like, bark at me for not having anything up. As long as it doesn't bark at me, we're fine. So I hope you're all nice and cozy. Am I supposed to have a green outline? No. But, okay, hold on. I'll show you something. Some avatars do better than others. Not that one. I think the original Foxy does well, because there's a lot of... they all kind of have green. That's the thing. What about you? Oh, you definitely have green. It's the auto key out that it has, and it's okay. It's okay. This one's pretty big around the shoulders, my broad shoulders. Original OG Foxy from months ago has a little bit better, because it's got like a green base, but have you tried using an OBS plugin for it? I haven't actually. I just used the auto key out for... I could try... Hold on. I think I could try making the... it does give you an option to change the background base color. And it might be better. Yeah, so I can make it blue. I imagine that'll just not work. No, now the outline's just blue. Pink. Let's do gray. What is gray? Is gray okay? Gray actually looks good. Want me to beat... yeah, just beat him up physically? Gray actually looks pretty damn... I don't know why I didn't switch to gray sooner. Gray works perfect. I guess I just gotta find the... whatever doesn't stick out the most. Know the information. You guys can have a little... I was gonna say something that was not gonna come off well. You guys can have an information exchange. Here, I'm gonna take it. What I've been doing, something I love to do to torture myself on days that get me really nervous, like today, an interview day, gets me very nervous and riled up. I drink a shit. I had some Red Bull this morning, a bunch of nice little sodas, and now now I'm not like physically moving around because I'm off work, and now I just got all this the nerves have been amplified. I have this lump in my throat, and for whatever reason, I'm like faux cold, because it's not cold in here particularly, but I'm shivering. Because it take a shot. Yeah. I think that'll counteract the vibes. Yeah, I can slow me down, slow my heart rate down a little bit. Well, we're gonna have quite the heartthrob on here in a second, so I think that's kind of part of the reason. Palm sweaty. all that. Rap meme, you know the thing. Friends and family discount. Stab yourself with Florona? What the oh, Flurona. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll get me down. You know, on top of... I said that, like, without, like... I said Flurona, like it was... Like it was a variation of fluoride when I first said it. But no, I realized we're doing hick accent there. Yeah. No, I feel hey, maybe this will help you with your concerns. I have a fever, I think. I think I have a fever. I'm a tough soldier and I'm doing great. I'm hot as an oven. My temp is rising. I don't feel like vomiting, so that's great. It's the only cure, more cowbell. That's right. Give me a blue oyster cult. Is it a ring of fire? Are we specifically talking like the transmitted disease kind of ring of fire feeling? Because I don't think that's what's going on currently. I think I'm okay. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's, I think it's just nerves. You ever just worry yourself into, like, a comatose state almost? That's where I'm at. I think you're seeing more of the worry now than usual, because I don't come on and pre-show about it often. I'm going to be going for 2 weeks for work, driving 1,200 miles one way for training, so take care of pigs while I'm gone. Oh, Zeltos, you have work! Zeltos has been hired for contracting work. Contracting talent management. Zeltos, don't worry, I right after a Foxhole, I go into, I go into hibernation for a while, so that'll free up Zell's schedule to be a surrogate streaming father. I'll take care of Foxy for you when you go on vacation. That's right. Thor will come in and be my surrogate dad. I have to keep her safe. What was the code to shot collar? All right, what we getting up at? We're getting up at 6:44 Central Time. Oh, and then a real string of numbers. So I personally am very excited. I'm probably going to be slamming up another starting shortly, trademark, for you to wait ×2. I'm doing a hand gesture of like moving my fingers around in a magical sort of way. But, you know, in the meantime, you know, I give you 5. I like to start on the dot. Wait, do you not know these numbers, Foxies? For shame. Oh, 8675309. I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were talking old media. Sorry, my my parents are talking in chat right now. From a different time. Don't shove me out of it. I'm not going to sing it in its familiar melody, however. I have to blend in with Gen Z. Right? Isn't that the goal here? Gen Z money, right? I have to be Zoomer-esque. ESQUE. Because I don't know what vibes I give off. I imagine it's not very hipper with it, but it needs to be closer. Mike, welcome in. You're here for another Foxhole. I mean, it just kind of wound. It lined up this way due to some scheduling behind the scenes. So I'm glad to see you here for number 6. Number 6. The floodgates are open. A what? A nuclear missile, Monster Michael. Yeah, the thing from last time. It's again, but now with a different person. We're talking to Heartthrob, who is tagged in my title. So I hope you'll hang out for a wee bit. Rin, welcome in. Good to see you. Always good to see some familiar faces popping around. it's so strange seeing all of these all of these regulars from other channels pop in and mingle. I feel like it's a socialite event, which is what I want. That's what I want. I want to host an event where we all launder money together. Weeboos. Oh, regulars. Oh yeah. No, you're right. You're right. But, you know, maybe we could like exchange $3 billion art pieces, canvases, blank canvases, and hide it in offshore safes. Dang, insta call out. Thor doesn't wait around. Thor digs deep. Thor hold on, wait. Sorry, you got me. I took a fat hit off the Pepsi. That Pepsi hit hard sometimes. It hits so hard. I do be hot on the keyboard. He goes crazy. I don't know what to say. Thor goes quick. Foxy showing us how to work tax loopholes on stream. Hey, listen. Not legal advice or anything, but there is one stipulation. You do have to be rich. You gotta have it first to do it. Jokes on all. He has that Pepsi branded bottle. That's right. I have a. I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna spit knowledge out on stream. Okay. We all have our we all have our crypts of the all-knowing. You went on safari with Mr. Elephant and Mr. Giraffe. Yes. Hot take: Pepsi isn't as good as Coke at the start, but Pepsi doesn't stale as quick or bad as Coke. Yeah, you know, I sit with that. Here's my thing: I have options sometimes. That 80s style Pepsi logo on the side. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like tacky merch. That's what we're talking about. I think I'm currently drinking I'm actually drinking in the reverse order of which I would typically like these things. I don't like Pepsi out of the bottle, but I have a Pepsi in a bottle right now. I like Pepsi out of can, and we all have our Foxy 423. That's right. What the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, I like Coke out the bottle. The sewer's my favorite. Falcon, welcome in. Happy to have you on stream. I gave you like the honorific there for a second because I feel like I heard Vaughn do that once or twice. So I wanted to be respectful as possible. However, Falcon slides right off my tongue a lot faster. God, why do I say things the way I do? Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? Oh, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Yeah, Falcon. Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. There, you see? I was there. Phil, welcome in. I have to go back behind the scenes to bring in our guest and start the show. Was that loud? I have a gate on. I hope it wasn't too loud. I hope my voice isn't scary. I hope I'm a welcoming little guy. That's all I've ever wanted to be, is a welcoming little guy. All right, well, here you go. Mic is going to be turned off. Do you like that sharp S? I don't know how sharp S's sound. Put that dog back up. Put the gate on. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna slap the starting soon back on once again, and we're gonna get started very shortly. I love you all. Kisses, big kisses on the forehead. I will see you soon. Bye. My mic is back on, everyone. Hello. A quick intro, because we got business on the books. A wonderful guest tonight. It is our first Fox character on the broadcast, and I'm super excited that I'm gonna bring him into my own home, because I just want this to be special. I want it to be like Slumber Party, so I'm gonna show you something special here. Look at this. Check out this cool-ass room. And while you look at the distractions I have in my room while I paste the web browser source for our guest, maybe you can notice, maybe you can see the wonderful guy in the window, or the Foxy Pop Funko Pop, or anything to your liking. And Seffi on the wall, who knows? Anyways, without further ado, I would like to welcome a very special guest, a hunk of the internet, Hoshiko Rito. Welcome in. Please give yourself a little twirl. Let everybody see.
Hi, Foxy. How you doing?
I'm so much better now that you're here. So you want to tell the class? Oh, and your PNG's not up. God.
I was wondering. I was like, maybe it's just too behind, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. What is going on here? What kind of goofy?
I just haven't arrived yet. I'm on the way. I'm on the phone. That's what it is.
I'm like not super certain about like letting you in my. Oh God, he's here. He came in too.
Yeah. I mean, hey, do you know anything about that guy back there? He said he was here to see you, and I just kind of like looked at him and just he wouldn't go away.
Personally, I to my liking, you don't need to worry about the particulars of who that man is. I've seen him enough this week. He could stay outside.
Okay. I mean, I can go get the hose real quick.
No, as long as you're okay. I don't know how you feel about this, but as long as you're okay with him watching, he doesn't bother me.
You know what? If he stays out there, it's fine.
Yeah, he's like, and honestly, if we're looking at the ratio of window to man, he's kind of like small hobbit sized. You could take him.
Yeah, probably just a little punt here and there.
Yeah, you go outside. If he bothers you, go outside, give him a little kick. I think he'll scurry away. He might say some bad words, but I'll keep it off the broadcast. No worries.
Yeah. So my chat can't see it, but I do like your Seffi poster over there. Very nice.
I thought, I was like, we have a common connection here. Seffi and I, we bonded over how you made us suffer on the last broadcast, and I feel like we might have.
Whoa! What do you mean suffering? There was no suffering.
There's only. No, there is suffering. You know what? I'm going to decide right now. I think there is suffering, and for those who weren't here last week, Rito, you brought us into the world of saying haughty things on the broadcast, and I was uncomfortable. I don't know. I can't do it. Do you want to give the class a little example of what we're talking about right off the bat?
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
No, not me. No. I want to let the master work. I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to be showed up immediately after. Why don't you just slip it up?
So you wanna follow up the act, huh? Is that it?
I would say follow up. I think I'm spectating with the class. Really,
Yeah.
I like after that. Maybe I could give a breakdown of what we saw, but I don't. It would be wrong of me to do that right after.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry. I got you. I believe. It's funny because there's a bunch of sounds that go on, and who knows what's said and what's done not during a stream, But did it sound something like
Oh, it might have sounded like that. Why don't you I heard the class. I heard the class just now. They said make Rito louder. And I don't know if that
louder.
Make you louder. So I don't know. I don't know for what purposes, but why don't you? This is the loud version. We got the little bit of time. Why don't we do the loud version?
You want another one? Most of the time I charge for these. You know that, right?
Well, I mean, I might be able to front a little bit. I don't want to.
Yeah.
just a little bit. Why don't you? Go ahead. Just a freebie. I can pay you behind the scenes.
All right. Well, if we're gonna, if that's fine then. How about
Wow. Do I speak for everyone on behalf of? There's nowhere else that this show could go. I think that's it. I think we did a great job.
Well, you know what? Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. It was great.
I'm just gonna give you a shake on the hand, a pat on the back. That was just a wonderful experience. I could feel that rustle through all the wrinkles on my brain, and you scratched every corner. I couldn't be happier. This has been Foxhole 6. No shade to anybody else. Pinnacle of the series. 5-minute episode. We got the formula down, and here we are out. I'm done memeing. I swear to Gibble, I'm done memeing. I want to give you the night out you deserve, Rito, because you made my night, so it's time to hopefully make yours. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. What we're Fox people. We're Fox people, Rito. Why do you want to be a deity Fox? You've ascended higher than I have. How'd you get there?
So when I was deciding what to do as a streamer, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do like just no camera and just talk or what. And it was around that time that I actually found some VTubers because I don't think I had really seen much of like the corporation VTubers much at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found somebody and saw that they were this uh, cute fox girl, and I was like, "Oh, that's neat. I haven't seen that before." And then kind of stayed for a little bit, and then just left. ADHD brain kicked in, and ended up finding her again months later when I was starting to get closer to like deciding whether or not to stream. And funny enough, it's someone that is now my like my little sister. I love her to death. And so I was sitting there thinking, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna stream, seeing nothing there but the gameplay could be kind of boring. So why not add something to it? I mean, I want to draw people that like anime anyway, and I mean, I don't know many people who watch VTubers who don't like anime, or at least are receptive to it. So I was like, this VTuber business seems pretty fun, and I can do all sorts of things with it. So I just picked my favorite animal, which has been for ever, foxes. And I was like, well, I also like space. How can I make this theme work? And so I started to try to create some lore based around a space fox. And I was like, what would work? And I really love playing D&D. I'm both a player and a DM. So I was like, well, if I'm out here creating these fantasy worlds as is, I might as well just say that that's what my ability is, and basically work that into the lore that I create with the stars in my tail. I just create worlds and universes and all of that, and I was like, yeah, this works. This is great. I like this. This is where I'm going. And funny enough, this design that you see here was not the first iteration. The first iteration I had, the tail, the orb wasn't in the tail, which I know it's sort of hidden by my head. But it was this, it had a gold outline around it, and then sort of like this banding gold through it as sort of like a cage around it. And then when I got a slot from Yia, who is my current model artist, she was like, first of all, your outfit, it's boring. Because it was a simple blue gi and a darker blue Hakama paint. And I was like, all right, that's fine. You do whatever you want. I don't care. You draw whatever. I'm very much of the mindset. I like letting artists do their own thing when they have the vision. So I'm just like, you know what? You have fun. And then she's like, I don't like your tail. It's too complicated. And I was like, okay, well, you do your thing. So this was the end product, and this is what I decided to stick with because I loved it so much, and now all of my art is basically based on what Ia has done. So yeah, that's how all this started,
Yeah.
and it's been so much fun. I've gotten to meet so many great people just from streaming. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I will say that I never thought going into streaming that I'd meet half the people I have now, much less have a show talking to cool people online. That was not what I envisioned, but with a little bit of Magic Zeltos mixed in there, we we got it off the ground. But
you gotta love your backup, don't you?
Oh,
the support and everything.
Oh, I know. Like I'm just I don't know how you feel about it, but sometimes I'm just like I'm a cave brain. I like all I do is come on and I say unga and bunga, and then sometimes people laugh, and that's good enough for me. Where I have the mighty engineer Zeltos beneath my my wings, the wind beneath my wings, or whatever. So my experience is unique, having him so early on. But without detrailing, going way too far off, I was gonna say I could just tell by the way you speak normally, because I was as I like to come into this, I listen to streams, I relax, I get cozy, I listen to the real Rito 24/7, and I don't know, it was just the way you spoke. I was like, I wonder. Weird question to have. I was like, I wonder if you have any like DM experience, because like it was just the way you present ideas and stuff that I really love. How long have you been DMing? Not so much D&D in general, but just, well, I'm sorry, not so much playing D&D in general, but getting into the DM space.
Let's see. Gosh, it's been so long. I think I started DMing my first campaign back in middle school. So a while.
Yeah, I feel that.
Probably, I'd say 14 years or so. 15 years. Granted, that hasn't been like consecutive. I've only run a few campaigns, but they've been relatively lengthy, and some have stopped and then never completed. We picked up another one, and the curse of scheduling is well known for D&D. It's great.
Yeah, I'm always adjacent to like D&D groups, and they're just like, well, this person can't come this week, so whatever, I guess. They're just like, we'll do it next quarter. And I could feel the just the terror of planning. I have trouble with one person on occasion, so I can only imagine. But how has being a DM, having that experience of being like a DM, going through that separate creative process, help you come over into this space, or are there things that you possibly could do in the future that those skills could kind of help bring out? Because I know DMing is no small feat. I've thought about it. It's tough.
The funny part is that how I personally DM is I am very much on a wing and a prayer. I have a general outline of where I want the story to go, but my style is more, I leave it up to the players. In the most recent campaign that had just finished, they had to go and defeat the Witch Queen. And if they had told me, we don't really want to do that, we just want to keep adventuring, I would have been like, all right, okay, so here's what's going to be going on in the background, and now you guys are going to have to react to information differently. So, and that's why I don't tend to do a whole lot of planning. I have a general basis of where I want them to go and what I want them to do. But if they want to do something else, I'm just like, okay, that's what we're doing today, I guess. And then just on the fly, make adjustments. And I treat streaming very much the same. I'm not much, ironically, for being a DM, I'm not much of a planner. I just let things go with the flow. And I'm very much the same way with the streamer, with streaming. I don't really make a schedule of what I'm going to play. In fact, I don't have a schedule even made. Like, I know what days I'm streaming usually, and then there's some days that I take off. But other than that, it's kind of just, what am I playing today? I don't know. What do I feel like playing today? I don't beholden myself to any particular game. I'm not going to, Oftentimes I was saying, I'm going to make it Final Fantasy Fridays, and then I think I missed 3 in a row because a buddy of mine invited me to play DVD, and I was all right, this is what we're doing now. So
I greatly understand that, because the scheduling is such a burden upon me, where I'll just sit down and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to eat in 20 minutes from now. There's no possible way I'm going to be able to make a list that's like, I'm going to be playing Donkey Konga for the GameCube on Friday via emulator on my computer. So I always thinking about it, like, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow, and that's flexible, and then I'll give you times as to when I'll be around, when I can hang out. But that kind of gets me to the space to ask, like, I find myself when I'm like specifically gaming or doing whatever on stream, because I feel like gaming is very much the vehicle in which we all like to have fun and communicate, but like do you ever find yourself kind of burning out on like the certain genres that you play in? Is there any way that you've been trying to like mix up that sort of field when you stream? Because like I know that for whatever reason I'll get in a space where I'm like, ah yes, game, and then I'll get into a space where I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we could talk. Maybe we can hold hands tonight. I don't know.
So for mine, it's more of like how to say it. I'm the type of person that I could just eat cup ramen every day. It doesn't bother me. Food is food, and I kind of treat games the same way. I mean, sometimes I remember my friend Sage and I, we attempted to do a 24-hour Apex stream, and I think it was by hour 16. We were like, we can't do this anymore. 16 hours was our limit, and we went and played like I think Pressure Washer Simulator, just to like our minds were so numb of first-person shooters. We were just like, what's something simple, something brain dead? Ah, yes, Power Washing Simulator.
Is there like for like having the idea of like a 24-hour stream? That's so daunting to me because you know my fifis get worn out after like hour 2 sometimes. So like how do you energize yourself? Like 16 hours, like I understand that you're wearing out at the point, but how do you get there sometimes? Like even with when you're with friends, it's like it's a long commitment. How do you gear up for something like that?
You know, oftentimes I would bring a monster, but granted, funny enough, energy drinks don't really help me. I think I just gaslight myself into thinking it does, which, you know, that's how I get most things done. Just gaslight myself into doing it. It's great.
Such a good feeling.
But with a 24-hour stream, it's something that, again, for me, it's actually easier because I can sit there and once I get, we were talking about burnout, once I get tired of a game, I can just be like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just go, all right, I'm done with this. Move on to the next. And I just keep going. Parts that wear down on me, because I remember there was one 24-hour stream. I started playing Yakuza 0, and I was having a great time, but I think I passed out for like a few minutes. At one point, while still like going through the game, I think I'd gotten through a cutscene and then started walking and then like kind of jolted up while walking into a wall. So that was fun. But it's really just kind of one of those things where I don't want to say there is no prep, at least for me. But it's just kind of one of those things like we're going to go out there and do it. And we're going to do it till it's done. And that's just kind of how I look at it. I try not to look at clocks because then it just kind of, I look at it and I'm like, I've only been live for 30 minutes. I've got 23 and a half hours left. Oh no. So I try to avoid those. In fact, in Twitch, on the creator desktop, I turn that clock off when dealing with it, and I set an alarm on my phone. And then I kind of just excuse myself. Like if I get hungry or something, I'll go and get myself a snack or go get myself food, and then just come back and keep going. And that's at the time when like and sometimes I've stood up, stretched, you know, get a really good stretch in, and that helps get the blood flowing and helps wake me up quite a bit. I also have to watch what games I play, because if I'm not playing something that I can actively engage in, then I will fall asleep or at least start nodding off. So I try to plan games that require constant attention. So I couldn't do something like Sims. I think unless it's at the beginning, because if it was like at the 16 to 18 hour mark, I'd probably be face down on my desk, knocked out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name. It's Ambiguous Amphibian, I think, mainly a YouTuber, but he'll stream like his video plans over Twitch, and I'm like, oh cool, I saw the YouTube video where he's like, oh I only used one space block in The Sims for the entirety of my run, and then I'll go in on a stream, I'm like, I am not fortuitous enough to sit through 12 hours of seeing how this actually plays out. I will see you in a 10-minute YouTube video.
I think I remember seeing that particular video. I really do, because that name, I was like, that doesn't sound familiar to me. I haven't seen that. And then you said the one square sim challenge. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I've seen that video.
Yeah, it's one of those people where like they like post like once a month or so, and then it'll go wildly viral, and then you're like, I don't know the name of that, but I really liked what was going on. So I feel you, and I'm glad you've kind of heard of that. But that being said, like I totally get what you're saying with like games that like require a certain amount of your attention. Do you have like a specific type of game that gets you the most? Because for me, I noticed that any game that I can riff off of that's like not actively talking story wise, like I could pay attention to stories, but if it gives me space to talk, I do a lot better for whatever reason, just because I'm chatty, I suppose. Do you kind of feel any sort of way about that?
So for my story games, I tend actually not to talk because I prefer to focus more on the stories, both for me and my audience. So I don't like talking over people like during cutscenes. I really ought to make a little title for it and just place it on the screen when I'm playing something like, especially Final Fantasy. Like, if I'm being silent for a long time, it's not you. It's I'm listening to the cutscene and letting you listen to the cutscene. And because with story games it's a bit different. I prefer to really engage myself in that, especially if it's a game that I'm very much interested in. Like Final Fantasy 14. Love the game. Love the story. It's fantastic. Um, so I try not to talk or say anything. Like, if anything, I'll try to type in chat to avoid talking. But then I kind of lose concentration. I'm like, wait, what did they just say?
Yeah.
So I try to just, and then as soon as the cutscene ends and they're done talking, then I'll go, okay, so, and I go, oh, hey, hello, and then, oh, you know. So, games that kind of just keep me going is stuff like Apex, because while on one hand, it's kind of like I have to pay attention to what's going on around, it's still very easy for me to sit there and chat about it. Up until I'm getting into team fights, and then it's sort of more like, hold on, guys, I'll be right with you.
Yeah, like heavy breathing, lots of typing on the keyboard.
Put a pin in that real quick.
Yeah, I especially with like cutscene heavy games, Zelto. I think Zelto's talked to me one time because I was playing a lot of Yakuza Like a Dragon, and which I adore. I love the game, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm really stoked that you're having a great time. It's really fun to watch you have fun. However, maybe people don't love it that you talk completely through the cutscenes. Like, I get that you get what's going on, but you're like, in proportion to the game audio, you're all there is." He's like, so, maybe play a game that's not as talky, or, maybe just enjoy the cutscene. So, yeah, your philosophy is totally valid, because I'm I'm so bad about that. But, I've gone way off the beaten path for my normal line of questioning here, because I've completely led us away from your life as your little life as a VTuber. I got into the gaming realm, but we'll come back. I swearsies. I always do. But
listen, I will go off the rails all the time. So I'm relying on you to keep us on track, because buddy, it ain't me.
It ain't me. That's gonna honestly.
I'll keep going. You give me a topic, I'll keep going, and then make 4 more.
I really need like a co-host that doesn't talk other than, oh, you were talking about this. And I was like, oh yes, thank you. And they have a PNG that disappears slowly and then pops up really aggressively. But yeah, you're saying that you saw somebody that was a Foxhole online, got you sparked into the space, and that kind of gave you the idea that you wanted to have this extra element to what you're streaming online. We've got into how you've kind of created your character up to this point, and now I want to talk about the good old fun stuff that I'm always curious about when it comes to people. You meeting people online, like how long into your streaming career thus far did you start kind of like making connections with people? Like, people started reaching out, or maybe you reached out to somebody and it's just like, oh hey, we kind of hit it off. What's up?
So I'm kind of like browsing through all the Discords I'm in now, and I mean, I think, and that's one of the hard things, is especially with you want to support everybody, but you know, I'm one person who's also streaming, and when you have a lot of streamer friends, it's hard to just be there. So,
Oh yeah.
oftentimes, even when I'm streaming, I have like 4 or 5 streams up at once. And now, granted, I have the tabs muted, but I'll just slide in there and say hi, redeem a hydrate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I think it was fairly quickly, because after. So let's see. I think it started honestly with Saki. I got close to Saki, and so through her I met people, and then from there it kind of just sprouted. You know, and then I met. I think technically I met Sin through Yia, because she also drew his model, or his PNG, and which I just met Daki, who rated me today. Thank you, Daki. And so it just, I mean, and then I see Spunky and Fell or in chat. I don't even remember how I met them. I think it was through Saki. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been Sage. It might have been Comfy. I don't know. And it's the same thing with Pixel. I'm not quite sure how I met Pixel anymore. It was through a raid. I know that. Whose raid it was? I don't know. That's too long ago for me to remember. I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast.
Yeah, damn straight.
Oh, wait, no, I had cereal. Never mind. It's a miracle, trust me. So, you know, it's just through these raids, I find people who I like to, I just, like, for whatever reason, I take an interest in them, chat with them, and it just kind of goes from there. So it's been great, because I remember. I think most people have been through raids. I'm pretty sure. Or it's been like, hey, this is my friend. They just started streaming, and I'm like, hey, what's up? Come join us. Let's play a game. And it happens.
I see everybody kind of check. I Fell and Spunky shared the same remark. It was like, oh, I think we raided into Rito, and then he said Ara Ara, and then I smashed the smashed the follow button. So you know what? It's a business method that works. So I could hardly. I'm seeing the it work.
Note to self: lower Ara redeem cost.
That's right. Every time you free business advice. This is me on the subreddit right now. I'm smashing in the keyboard. Whenever you get a raid, it should just be free for a minute and a half, and then everybody's going to be
yes.
bam, 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 bam.
For the raiders.
That's right. They make me do. I don't know why they make me do this, but every time somebody comes in and Fell and Spunky are there, they're like, give or Olga too. They'll be like, hey, do the close mic kiss thing. We like when you do that for some reason. I don't know why. Is it the slobber in my mouth that you could hear like project across the room? Anyways, sorry.
Sorry. It is interesting to see like what people enjoy, because it's something that you're like, this is weird. I don't feel like this is good. And then people are like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Like, my chat's been asking me, they will always offhandedly mention it. They're like, when are you going to do ASMR? And I'm like, why?
What?
And they're like, we want it. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Or they're like, oh, we want a karaoke stream. And I'm like,
I could feel our alignment, like our character alignments, being perfectly in line right now, because I've always felt like I'll talk to people and I'm always so amazed when like I want to sing or I want to do ASMR, because it's like really putting yourself out there. But here I'm like, what do I offer? I'm sitting here. I could feel like my posture is like pointing straight to the floor. There's a lump on my neck, and I'm like a dinosaur. I crane my neck into the mic, and I'm like, What's up, guys? It's time for the 37th night of me playing Super Mario Sunshine. I hope you're ready. So yeah, I feel it now when people are like, yeah, you should do this or that. And I'm like, nah, I wanna eat Fruity Pebbles, and I want to talk to you. But let's make the Foxhole 5 to 6 connection. You know, I've heard Sephi's side of the story, but I need Rito's point of view. Where'd you meet Sephi?
Cute, adorable Safi. So, I believe I actually found Epsilon Crew while just kind of like browsing Twitch.
Mm.
And at the time they were called the Froggy Pit. I thought it was the cutest thing ever. All of their graphics were frog themed. They were the frog. They had a cafe. I was like, this is really cute. And I believe the first time I saw them was playing Overcooked. I want to say yeah, something like that, I believe. And it was Sephi, Zero, Rouge, and I think one other person, and I'm not 100% sure. But I was like, I thought their whole idea of being like their own group that streams together was really cool. So I started following. And as often as I could, I would just show up because they were all such genuinely like great people, and they had like rotating members too. So it was like, one day Zero wasn't available, and or schedule whatever the case was, or maybe they just didn't want to do it. But they would set it up to where it was different people, different streams, and sometimes there was more prevalent members than others. Sometimes one would come in occasionally, but still, it's a very cool concept to me, and they still do that now under Epsilon. And it's just, I just started chatting and interacting with them, and Zero and Sephi were the two that I ended up interacting with the most. And I didn't know Sephi, being the jerk she is, didn't tell me when she started solo streaming until she rated me. I was like, wait a minute, what are you doing over here? Oh, rating me? Wait a minute. She's like, yeah, I'm keeping it on the down low. And I was like, how dare you? You couldn't even tell me. I am hurt. I can't believe you. But it's been so great getting to know them, and they're a wonderful group. And I've talked to, I think Sephi is the one that I've talked to the most, and really enjoy. I'm glad I got to meet her.
Oh, I learned about Sephi pretty quickly after. I forgot exactly. I think it was the episode before. Zotos was like, "Hey, I have somebody that is really super cool that I think you want to meet." And I was like, "Okay," because like for me, my Achilles heel when it comes to being a streamer is that I'm so like brain dead. Like I'll go to work and then I'll slug home, and then when I'm actually at my computer is when I'm physically streaming, and then when I'm off. So a lot of the time I miss out on a lot of good people, and so Zell is my ear to the ground. Zell gets me in contact.
It's funny because I'm the exact opposite. So I actually get to work from home. So my workstation is right above my personal computer. And so I log off, and then I go, my head goes down, and I just sit forward, and I'm like...
rubbing your hands maniacally.
Totally don't watch streams while I'm at work or anything like that. I'm always 100% focused and committed, you know?
100%. I'll say this. Here's a good reason why I had to get an in-person job. I remember specifically one day before I started streaming, and I was doing YouTube before, and I made really bad YouTube videos. I was sitting at work, and I had a full list of stuff to do. I was supposed to be a busy man, and what I did that day was, what the hell was it? Multiversus came out. And I recorded a video of playing that and drawing along with it instead of doing my actual work that I was paid to do. So that's a little bit of stealing from the big man himself, and then getting immediately they're like, "You can't stick around." And I was like, "Fair, sorry guys."
I understand.
I was like, "I'd be mad, but I'm a dumbass, so you're fine. My bad." So yeah, now I'm a working stiff. But oh yeah, what I was saying, we love Sephi. We love Sephi here. After having Sephi on, I'm a diehard Seph head. Every night. So every time I have somebody on the podcast, I'm like, holy fuck, these people are so cool. These people are sick, epic, and you know, I can't. After we're done, I'll be I usually listen to like people read scary stories to go to bed. I'm just gonna be listening to your VODs, so I hope you're okay with that. So,
I'm so sorry.
If it's if it's okay, maybe you know, maybe you could add like a 30-minute to an hour section in every stream of yours where you address me personally and like read me some Berenstein Bears books or something. I think that'd be nice, but
do it with while it's ending after it's rated out, because you know the stream will keep going on. So sit there, just wait like a good 10 minutes to be like, all right, Foxy, after 10 minutes of seeing the stream, the story's gonna start, and then
That's right.
You know, and speaking of that, it's funny. I've actually looked at doing story reading on stream.
You absolutely should. Absolutely.
I just have to find the. I am a fan of seeing how far the rules will bend before they break. So I have to find out what's technically allowable versus what's not. Because I'm like sitting here, like I've got a bunch of books that I've paid for, so you know, technically, could I read those? You know, I mean, I've paid for it, and I'm just happen to be reading it out loud in front of people.
Yeah. What if you put in the title "Audible Audition"? Maybe that would like be okay.
Yeah, right.
Like they'll be like, "Hey, this is for Audible's eyes only. If other people stumble onto here, that's their problem, not mine."
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I thought about the same. Well, I did a little bit. I succumbed to like being a middle school boy that read creepypasta years ago. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I read like some of the stuff that even I thought was lame as a kid? And then I started, and then people were like, this sucks. So, yeah.
I'm glad you think so. So do I.
So do I. This is awful.
That's why I'm reading it.
They're like, you should do something else. I was like, okay. So I hope the Rito reading arc goes a lot better than the Foxy reading arc did. You know, it could be because I'm borderline illiterate as well, that it really did not help when I'm sitting there and I read like half a sentence and then I go, what's that word? And I'm sounding it out, and they're like, just skip it. Do the next one.
Me with some of the words in Final Fantasy, I swear, they've used words. I've learned words from 14, and I'm just like, oh, what is that? What is the synonym? Trash. Understand.
I know, right? They get so flowery with their language. I'm like, hey, remember, I'm your target audience, and I'm a bozo. We can keep it simple. We can get grassroots with it here. That was as you can see, people. This is a classic case of two people that go off of we really like tangents. I can see, and
I warned you.
I was initially going for something else, and then I went so far away. I was like, I like this journey.
I told you.
You did tell me. You gave me fair warning, and I was like, you're a liar. You're just being funny. You're not being for real. But here I am. I was way off, and I was talking about Sephi. I was talking about Sephi and how much fun I had on that cast. I don't know why I would call it that. Nobody calls it that. But I was gonna say, how often from a point of view where I have the Foxhole and Zeltos is my communicating man, right? Like I'm a scared little baby. I don't often reach out. Do you have any advice for us little scared little children to reach out to people for like collabs and stuff? Because I see that you play with other people a lot, or like you're on like a greater event. How do those things usually spur up? Because I myself, this is the rarity.
You know, yeah, and it's gonna sound very much like the tired trope, but it's honestly because even myself, I do consider myself very much an introvert, ironically, given how very much just extroverted I can seem. But oftentimes it's just a matter of me going, hey, you want to play a game sometime? Like, I asked Spunky and Fel. For the longest time, I was like, dang, I need to play a game with them. And then one day I was like, hey, you guys want to play? I see you playing Warzone. I was looking into getting Warzone. You guys want to play? And they're like, hell yeah. Which, you two, still haven't done yet.
That's a call out. No, of course not. We would never use a platform to call out two friends or anything like that. That would be
see, I just had something in my throat. That's all it was.
That's right.
Sorry, if you heard something, it was just a weird cough. Don't worry about it.
Don't ever worry about that. We keep things above the board here. If I ever say anything, if I ever mention somebody else's name, it's always in good fun, right? Like, yeah, I won't even. So there you have it. If you're a scared little baby like me, stop it. Get help. That's the advice.
And you know, honestly, sometimes it's just a matter of going ahead, writing out the message to somebody, and not sending it at that moment, and just kind of let it sit there. And then you go back one day, like say a day or two later, you just look at the message and just hit send, and then put it down and walk away. You've already sent it.
Oh, yeah.
It's that build up. So, you know, you're too scared to send it in the moment, right? Because you're like, oh, you know, I don't know how this is going to go. But just type out the message, leave it there for a day, or just for a few hours. Come back, just hit the send button, or hit, you know, whatever you're writing on. If it's on the phone, just, you know, swipe away from it and go do something else, and then come back and just hit the send button and swipe away. I think, and that way you're not looking at it and thinking about it. You're just sitting there like, okay, well, that's sent. What's done is done. And just do it that way.
That's honestly very nice advice, because I've done the same and more of like avoiding like immediate backlash from certain work consequence kind of thing. But as far as like reaching out to people, that I think that's a really good one, and I'll put this out myself, because I feel like this is a part that might be hard to swallow. But like, if something doesn't work out, that's okay. Like if you reach out to somebody and they're like, nah, I don't care for it, it's cool to be like, well, that sucks, whatever. But I think the biggest part is like, don't be weird about it. Like, don't pester anybody.
And not only that, but just don't beat yourself up over it. I mean, at the end of the day, either they're going to say yes, let's do it, or no, sorry, I'm busy, or I don't play that, whatever it is. If you're inviting someone who plays, you know, something similar to you, it's very, very easy. Or I shouldn't say it's very easy. It's easier because you already know they play it. So it's more of just you getting up the courage to go, hey, I would like to play this game with you. And I'd probably say a majority of the time, they're not going to turn you down. And you can say, listen, it doesn't have to be now. It doesn't even have to be this week. But can we look at the next coming weeks when you have availability and just see if our schedules line up? And then that way it's kind of, for them, it gives them kind of time to go, okay, you know, do I know this person? Okay, yes, I know this person. Are they a friend? Yes, they're a friend. I'd love to play this. Or do I know this person? Sort of. You know, have I seen them around? Yeah, okay. How have they been? Well, they seem pretty genuine. So, because I haven't reached out to anybody that's like a complete stranger. I've sort of always known them ahead of time. I think one of the few exceptions was Jenny here, but she was Seffi's friend. So it was a whole lot easier because it's a friend of a friend. And, you know, you should know the kind of person your friend is. And so you're like, okay, well, if my friend's like this and I like how my friend is, they're going to have friends that are similar. So it can't be that bad, right?
You know, I gotta say, I don't know if you've ever gotten this before, but when I was sitting there, at first I was like, all right, take notes. But then I just sat there and I was like, this feels like a parental conversation. Like I'm being coddled, and it's like, it's cool. Just be you, be yourself. And I don't think I've ever felt so energized to be like, yeah, I am cool. I can do it. I can reach out. So, gamers out there, my little introverted royalty, listen to Papa Rito. That's some good advice. I don't have it myself, and that's why we bring on the much more knowledgeable, cool, calm-headed people that could do it. Now I'm just gonna have Every time I ask you for like advice, I'll have you tag on the ara ara. That way, everybody's satisfied.
Yeah.
We've covered all bases. Um,
I see.
I did want to address because this kind of goes into a question I usually go into a little bit later. But everybody was like on your behalf, I think, forming a virtual D&D campaign. Do you think
I saw that.
do you think that's something you'd ever do? Like you'd be like, okay, well, here's D&D sessions via Twitch, and here's the gang. I'm doing this for you guys. I know you wanted your question out. I just forgot at the moment. So,
That's is something that I've actually given consideration to. Simply because I know for me, it's how to make a comparison here. So my IRL group has wanted to do something similar where they do sort of like a podcast, almost like a Roll Critical, or is it Critical Roll Critical?
oh yeah, Critical Role.
Whichever it is, whatever Matt Mercer does. And I know there's a couple other ones that are around. They wanted to do something similar, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. Who's editing it? Who's setting up the camera? Who's doing it? I'm not doing that. So I know I'm certified in video editing, but I don't want to do it. That's why I haven't started doing YouTube stuff, because I'm like, man, if I'm streaming every day except for Saturday, which is my D&D day, when do I have time to do this? So that's kind of why I've avoided any other platforms and just completely been on Twitch alone. But for a virtual thing, if I could honestly get, a few people together and we dedicate a day a week to doing a D&D session, I would not be adverse to it. I'd have to get a couple more things that allow for that are better immersion for online. Because IRL, I tend to build stuff. I've actually I have the final stage that unfortunately never got used because our timetable got moved up heavily. But I like making stuff, especially for like very important scenes. Like I 3D printed one of the cool airships they got because I have a 3D printer, and I was just like, all right, here you go. This is what it looks like. Go have fun, kids. So with online, it's easier, but a little bit more difficult because you have to really be able to see that top down rather than the 3D view.
Right.
But is it something that I would do? Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. I'd have a lot of fun.
Well, I'll have the fellas in chat that put their. I'm taking attendance right now. All of those who are in on the D&D campaign. I saw Spunky and Fell, of course, Thor, I believe. Listen, I'm a matchmaker right now. I've got your party. I'm penciling them in. It's a shame. I've only ever played like I say true D&D, like a full campaign once, and it was nightmarish. I say it was in high school, and I won't I try not to date those things, so people are like, hey, what a fucking dinosaur. But there was this guy, he's like, hey, I want to do D&D. I was like, oh, sick. And my friend was like, hey, it'll be a lot of fun. And then we did it, and then it wasn't
a lot of fun.
No, it was actually it was a nightmare. Like we all sat there like doing our turns, and it was just like, yeah, every time somebody would like, all right, I do this, and then they would get up and they're like, I'm gonna go make a hot pocket. And then they would leave for like half an hour, and then we'd all sit there like, this is what this is. So one day I hope to have a proper campaign, because I don't think I really even know how D&D works. I'll be completely honest, because it was such a weird one-time thing.
Listen, you roll the clickety clacks and tell the numbers, and if you hit, you hit. If you don't, better luck next time, buddy. Hope they don't hit you. First to zero loses.
First loses. What a succinct way to put it. That being said, you've been in the D&D game for a while. Do you have any demoralizing stories where you went into a campaign and you're like, well, that was heartbreaking that happened?
I can tell you what happened during one of my campaigns. So they were on their way to a lumber mill town to get a specific type of wood for the airship they were making. And so they were stopped along the way by this very very, what's the word? He looked very panicked, and he was like, "Please help me. My this monstrous tree has taken my, I can't remember if I had it as his girlfriend or I think it was his fiance." And so he was begging the party, and because I knew my party, and I know at least two of them had a very like, stand behind me, I've got this. And so I used that against them. And so they went to go help. They saw like this half torso of a woman like halfway into this tree, and as soon as and it didn't do anything until they got close, and the one player started to pull on the torso, trying to pull her out of the tree, and he got thwacked by the tree. And he was like, at first he kind of just played it off, and he was like, whatever, I try again, and he got thwacked again, but this time I rolled it to where he took damage, and so they all drew their weapons and started fighting this tree. And finally he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna push my sword into this tree and cast heat metal on it." And I'm like, it's pretty smart. Okay, well, that's the end of that. And so they finally managed to pry the woman out of the tree. And I'm like, as they started getting away from this tree, they got a fair distance away, and they're like, "Okay, I'm going to check on her, make sure she's okay." And I'm like, "She looks almost translucent." They're like, "Wait, what?" And they're like, "Oh man, she needs help. We need to get her over to the town." And as soon as they took, another 30 feet, I was like, she disappears. And all you see is this flower. And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, so they go back and they see the tree's still aflame. And the wizard makes a nature check and passes. No, I'm sorry. I think it was the bard. Bard made a nature check and passes finally. And I was like, this was a dryad. That was her tree. And you have not only destroyed her tree, but ripped her body away from it, and she is now dead. And that was the first time I really hit my players with you need to know what you're going into before you do anything. And to them, they were crushed by this. And they got pissed at this person, and they just could not find him. And it was a complete setup for them, because I knew I had a group running in the background, because I told them all throughout the campaign, like, you are not the only things in this world. You, at this point in time, do not matter. The world does not know you. You do not know it. It cares not for you. Be careful. And so this was their first taste of that there are things other in the world. And I have this background organization that what it ended up doing, and this came back to bite them in the butt later on, which released this, the mountain that was close to the town was actually a slumbering beast. It was actually a turtle. A giant, massive turtle that was starting to head towards the capital city. So then I had the god of nature that I have, and he was like, "Hey, so you guys killed the spirit that was holding that, keeping that thing sealed. You have to take care of this now, if you want to absolve your sins." And so that's what they had to go do. So yeah.
Yeah, I could, I was, I was actually sitting there at first. I was just kind of like actively listening as I got into it. I kind of, I gotta say, I love your storytelling, even from this outside retrospective kind of point of view. So a little clap there before I go in a little bit deeper. When you're preparing, a scene that is tough like that for your party and all, how long does it take you to prepare that part of your story to make sure that the emotional impact is as deep as you want it to be? Because I know when you're the sole source of information for this world and a bunch of people are supposed to buy into it, that could be pretty tough. So is it like a lot of prep beforehand, or is it like you said before, sometimes you just kind of like you wing once you get into it, and then you kind of find your footing as you're already there?
It kind of depends. So I knew for this particular thing, I wanted to happen because this was how I was going to show them that there are bad people out there. They will use them, and that you can't just trust everybody who walks up to you asking for help. One of the things that I've always liked in a campaign is that subversion of good and evil. There was one campaign that I loved listening to a story about where it was a wizard who was going and having the heroes go and gather these mystical artifacts. And at the end, it turns out that the wizard was actually an evil, and what they were doing was basically bringing about the end of the world. But the DM had set it in such a way where it made them seem like heroes rather than villains. And so I was like, I like stories that do that because I like the morally gray stuff where there's no right or wrong answer, but there's also no good answer because you can just make better ones. And I'm not saying I'm going to put that as the whole campaign as a whole, because then you just kind of have this bleak, what does it matter kind of deal. But for instance, in my campaign, they fought what was known as the Witch Queen. And her entire goal, as far as they were aware, was to resurrect the old gods and get rid of the new gods. Well, my players never really did a whole lot except surface level knowledge checks about them. They never really tried to pick up the trail and piece things together. And I had told them to be careful, and they're going to need to start paying attention. But they never chased any of the leads that I gave them, or I made a choice. I made them choose whether they wanted to go after that or if there was something else. I made two equally enticing options, and they tended to really stick the other way. I mean, I even stuck my wizard player into the god of knowledge that I have was Solomon, and he was in his library with this book that had all of the past events of the world and all of the future ones. If he had literally asked me, like, hey, what happens, what's at the end of our adventure, I would have literally told him what happened. Of course, had it change, because, as there's multiple routes that they could take, but just have it change up and have him see multiple paths and make him wonder, okay, how do we get this end? How do we get that end? He learned early on that history had been altered by the governments to basically have a shorter time span, so that way, because they were in conflict for 600 years or so, or 600 to like 1,000 years, but they made it only seem like 200 years had passed, and really chopped out stuff. And that was kind of me trying to tell them, hey, start questioning things. Hey, look at things. What's right as far as timelines are concerned? Well, they never really did that, and it turns out the old gods that she wanted to resurrect was really the true gods. That was the original of the world. And they were overthrown by these usurpers, and had actually sacrificed the Witch Queen herself to get that power to do so. So it was kind of like her revenge / trying to right what had happened. And they never picked up on it until I had them defeat the Witch Queen. Well, they defeated the Witch Queen on their own volition, but defeated the Witch Queen and was congratulated by the gods, and then were murderized by said gods. They literally, and I had them clap, and I go, "Thank you for being a martyr for our cause." And my one player, wait a minute, what do you mean martyr? And I was like, you feel a nice cold steel in your back, literally.
I was just about to ask too, because I have such a little glancing relationship with D&D up to this point. I was going to say, how do stories usually conclude in the more goal not accomplished kind of way? Which that is an excellent example of something that goes awry.
No. They set out. They had their goal clear in mind, was to defeat the Witch Queen. And they completed their goal. I'll give them that.
Completely fair. Their MO for that particular campaign was absolutely accomplished. I guess what I should say is quote unquote good end, right? For them. What I was going to ask on top of that is when complete novice here, right? When let's say the whole party meets an untimely demise, is that just a hard stop to any one campaign, or are there other ways that you usually kind of fudge new additions to this world to progress the story, depending on how attached you are to it, or do you just completely, all right, next one, on with it,
It sort
onwards?
of depends. Um, there's as a DM, you have a myriad of tools at your disposal. One of the easiest and cheapest ways is to go, you're fine.
That's
Um,
true.
and people really seem to get in mind that my HP's dropped down to 0. That's it. I'm done. Oh, the whole party HP dropped down to 0. I'm done. But that's not necessarily the case. A good DM can sit there and look at it and go, okay, what did they get beat by? Okay, well, it was these bandits. Well, maybe one of them is a lord or a noble, so they're wearing finer clothes and like, oh, we can't kill this guy. I mean, he's rich. He's got money. We can get money from this guy's family. And well, they're pretty decently armored, so they must have money, or they're being paid by him. So we just sell them all, and we'll get a ransom for them. So you can do things, set up things like that. I mean, I had one where when the wizard died, because he ended up dying. I had him meet. He was worshiping the god of Arcana, I want to say. He and or no, yeah, it was Solomon, the god of knowledge. And so when he went to Solomon's palace, or when he died, he went to his domain. And I told him, he was like, I see great potential in you. I will bring you back under the condition that you herald your newfound powers in my name. Basically, because he wanted to be a cleric, so it's kind of a two birds, one stone thing. So I was like, here's how you get to be your cleric. You'll be a cleric of him, and you'll be brought back to life. And also, depending on your world setting, if you have a high magic, setting, then there's got to be somebody that can cast Revivify, which is a minute after death. Then there's Resurrection, which I believe is like up to 100 years. And then there's True Resurrection, which is a 9th level, which is harder to get. Not 8th or 9th level spell. Harder to get, but that's, I think, for centuries. So if you have a high magic setting, it's a lot easier. If you have a low magic setting, it's a little bit harder. Again, you can kind of hand wave things around, like they didn't kill you outright. They wanted to tie you up and use you for whatever. And that can be dependent on how light-hearted or dark you want your campaign to be. So there's always a way to hand wave something. But if everybody's not having fun, I had a campaign where nobody was really feeling it. We kind of just, on my end, the story was kind of muddled, very kind of confusing, because I was still relatively newer to writing stories. So I wasn't feeling my own campaign, and they were kind of like, we're tired of our characters. We don't really want to do this. So I was literally like, okay. And I set them up against something that they could not win against. I think it was actually a Hydra. And they were told by the local lord, you have committed a crime. They were framed for a crime. And I was like, you were committed for a crime and you have to go defeat this Hydra or die trying. And that will be your sentence. They were taken to the Hydra's lair and basically told, if you come out of there without killing that thing, we're going to kill you instead. So they went in. They were not able to defeat this. I knew they would not be able to beat the Hydra. And that's how their story ended. And we ended that campaign and moved on to the next. So it's just depending on how everyone's feeling about the campaign, and depending on where you are in the story. I had a player who did not want in this Witch Queen campaign. I had a player who wasn't feeling his character, and we were already level like 18, with 20 being the highest. So I think it was 15. And I had the Witch Queen appear in the cargo hold of because they were all describing what they wanted to do. And the wizard was like, I'm just going to try to scry on the Witch Queen. And scrying is basically spying. You get this little mirror, and you can kind of see, the scene of where they are. And so the party was like, no, that's a bad idea. And I was just kind of smiling over there, and I'm like, you can try it. Go ahead. Go for it. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. And so I had the Witch Queen look up where the scrying device was and smile. And he was like, oh, I don't like that. And I was like, yeah. You then see the Witch Queen. And so the Witch Queen appeared before them at level 15 when they weren't supposed to fight her. And she was like, I respect you for having the courage to stand up, but for defying me, one of you will be dying. And so I basically knocked them all down to 0 HP with the exception of one, who was my buddy who wanted to change characters. And I was like, oh, well, you're in melee range, right? He's like, yeah. Like, okay, make me a dexterity saving throw. And so he failed. And I was like, you feel this piercing through your chest as her hand is completely green. And your body starts to disintegrate from the feet up. And it was a disintegration. And he got to say his final line to the party. And he got to end that character and create a new one that I kind of just made sense in the story. And that's all it took. So it kind of just depends on if it's a TPK, if it's one character, if it's multiple. Like, there's ways to go about it. And then I've just had a player that was like, I'm sorry, they couldn't do it, I think because they were starting college. And they're like, I can't be over here anymore. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. And I was like, okay. They just go off. One of them got bored. She was not very big into it in the first place, but just wanted to give it a try. Just like, I'm not feeling it. So I was just like, all right, well, your character goes off with this one person and does their own thing. That's fine. So there's multiple ways that you can do it depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, we touched on a couple of things. This is a D&D podcast, by the way. I've changed the scope of what we're doing, just because I've become so enthralled in this now. It's like living out a part that I just never really paid much attention to. So now's the time. We've got a resident DM. I'm gonna figure it out. I know that the precedent for most D&D campaigns is, the magic bound fantasy realms, because a lot of the resources on which you use, I'm speaking a little generally, even though that this might not be the case. So if I say something wrong, feel free. But a lot of what you're using, like the skills certain classes gets, that's for the most part been laid out in some way. There's resources to access that. So in the case of like creating a D&D campaign that is not based in the regular resources that are available to most people, is that something that can usually go on? So for example, someone's like, hey, I want a futuristic, just off the top of the head, and you're like, I want to do a futuristic campaign.
So,
yeah.
When it comes to things like that, there's a myriad of ways to go about it. Oftentimes, I would tell you, if you're wanting a more future setting, don't use D&D. There's a myriad of other tabletop games that are set in the future. Like one of the ones, because I've run and I've played in fantasy settings for 16 years. And 14, 16, something like that. A long time. I'm tired of fantasy. I really am. I've just played so much of it. I want something new, something fresh. So I proposed to my group. I was like, listen, next campaign I'm running is not going to be D&D. It's not. You have a choice. I'm either going to run Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk, if you don't know, it actually started out as a tabletop game. At least 2077 started out as a tabletop game. So you have Cyberpunk if you want sort of that Blade Runner, Cyberpunk style world. They have Cyberpunk set up for you. If you wanted, if you wanted modern day stuff, D&D has D&D modern, D20 modern, and it's got planes, guns, whatever you would want, they've got it. They even in D&D they even have D&D Future Combat, I think is what it's called, or something like that, with mechas and stuff like that. So, or if you want mecha stuff specifically, there's a great system called BattleTech. Been around for ages, was one of my first video games. So there's a bunch of other systems that you can look into. It also depends on what type of theme you want. There's Call of Cthulhu, which is kind of a game you play when nobody really wants to win, but they want to have a great time because in the end, you inevitably get driven mad. But it's a very cool system. And if you have a DM that's very good, especially with eldritch monstrosities, Call of Cthulhu, wonderful. I'm in one right now that's called Blades in the Dark, and it's very steampunk mafia style. We're a crime family, and we're trying to build up our own territory, muscle other families out, and basically gain a monopoly while having our own goals. If you want something more warlike, aside from BattleTech, but you still kind of want that futuristic. I mean, there's Warhammer 40K, which a lot of people are put off by the extensive lore, but sometimes you just need the rule book to give it a good read, figure out what kind of guys look cool, and then just figure out how to play them. There's a myriad of other systems that you can use, and there's something you'll find for whatever you want to run. That's not D&D. You can find it. I mean, there's if you want like the cool samurai stuff, there's one, and it even says there in the book, if you want, this doesn't follow the Western style movies where the hero's victorious in the day. They're like, no, this is samurai drama. You do not expect to live. You will die either on the battlefield, or you will die by your own blade. That's basically what you get. So it's just what tone you want to set for the campaign, which is dictated by you, yes, as the DM or GM, but mostly by your players, because you have to figure out what they want. Like, if I got Spunky, Fell, Steffi together, and Pix together for a game, and they're sitting here thinking, oh, well, I want to just have a great time, I want to just cast my spells, shoot my bows, have a great time, but then I go throw them into freaking Bloodborne, they're going to be like, this sucks, I'm not having fun. I want out. So you tailor your game to your players, and you get input, of course, but to be, in my opinion, to be a good DM, you have to take your players' opinions and wants and needs into consideration.
Yeah, I was doing that parent thing where I use D&D as like a super general umbrella term. Like if someone was like, "Hey, is that Nintendo?"
Yeah.
I realize now that D&D is the framework for that specific world that you're typically building. So I forgot about the existence of, at the very least, Warhammer. Warhammer is like strangely enough VTuber royalty. I see Warhammer a lot. So
it was wild to me. I came across a random video of, I think it was one of the corporate VTubers reacting to one of the Astartes videos, and I was like, hold up, wait, since when did they start watching this? And then like more and more people are getting into Warhammer, and I'm just like, huh, that's neat. I did not expect this group to get into that. I don't know why I didn't expect them to, because Warhammer on the surface looks really neat. I mean, every fandom has their people you're like, we don't associate with them. They're too much. But to me, Warhammer always kind of seemed like one of those communities that was very much like, I'm gonna have this unit here, and can't do that. That's against the codex. What does that mean? Against the rules. Sorry. That was me. That was literally me. My buddy decided he wanted to run what's called Rogue Trader, and you're basically you're basically a mercenary company essentially. And I was like finding this cool artifact stuff, and he's like, you can't do that. That's against the codex, and that's heresy. And I'm like, what isn't heresy at this point? So it definitely, it depends on your DM, and your DM needs to understand their players, their knowledge base and everything. Because he was like, you can pick it up, but just know if you're caught with it, you're getting a bolter to the face. And I was like, Okay, my character does know this. Oh, what's the risk? What's the reward? Who sell this to? Nah, let's just leave it here. It's fine. I'll visit an Imperial officer another day. I'm a star. So
I've decided now, after listening to your know-how and passion for it, I'm getting the gang together. I will see this virtual not any session. Doesn't have to be D&D. I'll be there. I'll MC it. I'll come in and I'll say welcome to the Blank and Blank campaign, and then I'll go to bed and and then I'll listen to it. So it's already done. Sorry fellas, for now I'm concluding the D&D World podcast. We got a good segment in there, but there's a whole person here that we want to know so much more about, and I eclipsed it. I went into another thing.
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I think it shows a lot about me. If we want to spin it this way, I think it shows a lot about me and my hobbies and all that. So we can spin it that way as we're exploring my hobbies and how I view things, and we're gonna spin it that way to make it sound good.
That's true. This is a certified news moment. I'm spinning the story. This is the real world Rito that we're getting to experience right now. This is the insider scoop. So you know what? You're absolutely right. You outclassed me in journalism for a second, but I'm taking the reins again.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, yeah. All yours. Buddy.
Of course, yeah. Get back to it.
Yeah.
I'll allow you to have it. Just for a little bit. With something as grandiose as an idea of like, virtual D&D session. That's a lot to think about. That's a big commitment, of course. That's like, we're gonna do this however so often with this many people that are all good. So schedules, obviously there's a whole bunch of stuff, but setting that just one stray thought that we had along the way there, are there any kind of like big of we've touched on several different ideas, but is there anything that you may be close to at this point that you want to bring onto your channel other than, the normal format that you've got going on? Any bright new ideas that you want to grow into, or maybe what you want to see future?
For one, I'd like my model done, so I can move. Being a PNG is not so bad. At least I blink and my mouth opens. So, because I use the same program you do. And funny enough, I was listening in and had the same issue you did with the key capture. Until I hit my sweet spot of gray, because if I go to my settings and mess around with them, my original was green, and you can see the green through... Where's my display? Here we go. Green shows through the tail, just because of how it's done. Blue shows through the tail. Pink definitely shows through the tail. So gray was my happy medium. And funny enough, gray's my favorite color, for those of you wondering.
Oh, that's a bold choice. Yeah, I feel like everybody's got their like blues and yellows, but gray. That's you've displayed a lot of dominance tonight. I feel like everything you do is like trailblazing for something, and I'm like, damn, why didn't I do that first? Why didn't I say that before you did just now?
It's a lot of just... Honestly, a lot of my stuff comes from inspiration from others, honestly. I see a bunch of things, and sort of looping back around to what I want to see. There was a thought that I had kind of playing around in my head of when I get my official model, because the model being worked on now is, funny enough, already outdated, because it doesn't have either this or the second outfit that I have, nor does it have the right tail. So when I get it, I'm going to be using it, but it's still not going to be like the debut model. Once the model that's based on Yia's design is done, then I'll have like my official debut. Once the model's done, the background's done, the new overlay is done. Because don't get me wrong, I love my current overlay. The artist did a fantastic job with it. It's very simple but elegant, which is exactly what I wanted. Which I'm not even 100% sure I'm going to change. I kind of like it. So I'm looking around at other overlay artist is just to see what's out there, but I'm not 100% sold on the idea of changing the overlay. But I had this idea kind of floating around, and it was actually kind of Steffi that got it into my head. That when I'm streaming to more, because how I am now, it is me. Like if you hang out with me outside of stream, the same way. Um, because I was sitting here like I don't really want to expend the energy to try to be something or someone that I'm not. But I started going along, or like started thinking on the idea of actually playing a character, and I was like trying to debate whether or not I wanted to do that with the like debut. So that was one thing. I'm still not 100% sure what I want to do. Um, as far as that's concerned, or even like what would I make uh what would I make the personality even be? Because it has to be something that I can emulate. It can't be some, as much as I would love to have like the crazy off the wall energy, I myself know that if I were to do that, I could probably only stream for about 2 hours before I'm like, all right, bye, I'm done,
Yeah, that's
I'm
it for
out.
me.
So there's that. Something else that I've been looking to do is to, because I talk about how much I love space, and in my Discord, I have, whenever I see something cool that's space related, I literally have a role that's like, hey, I'm pinging you all who like space events. Um, Look at this cool thing, or look at this new discovery, stuff like that. And I was like, for as much as I love space, I don't have any space games that I play. And I was like, probably fix that. So I started looking into something like Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen or something of that nature that I would both enjoy. Because first of all, who doesn't want a pilot a ship in space? Because that just sounds like the coolest idea. But I want to find a space-related game that I can make like a stream out of, and not just like one of those where okay, I'm going to run the campaign, or I am kind of playing the after story all the time, if that makes sense. Like, you know how some games, when you've beaten the game, it doesn't always go back to right before you beat the boss, but it's like, okay, you can go out and roam now and do whatever's left. And it's like, I don't really want to play a game like that. I want to play something that's constantly, like, I'm able to constantly do stuff. So that's why Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen were the first and foremost, because both of them I've already played. Star Citizen I'm very much newer to, and it's a heck of a lot more complicated than Elite Dangerous, with Elite Dangerous being its own bag of problems. But I wanted to find games where I'm in space because it would just fit.
I'll go ahead and make an endorsement. I haven't played this game on stream. I don't know why I haven't. I have a very long-standing account with Warframe right now that I just haven't played on stream.
You know what? You are the second person to tell me that.
I will say, hey, listen, if you started playing Warframe, I'd be happy to be your guide because I love the game. I don't know why I haven't played it. Well, I haven't played it in a little while, but still.
My big issue, and this is going to be funny because I play 14. I don't like MMOs.
Oh.
MMO adjacent. Like, I cannot stand Destiny.
Yeah.
I played the first one. It was all right when it first came out. And then I'm like, okay, I'm bored. And then I recently got back into Destiny 2 back when it was one of the first few expansions played. And I was like, it was the Black Pyramid is the only thing that I can remember was like the big focal point of the expansion. Are you going into this wannabe Bass Pro Shop? No. But it spawned me in this area, and I would walk out, and I would do like 2 damage to the enemy, and then I just get one shot, and I'm like, yeah, this is fun. It didn't even spawn me in the tower. It was just in the field, and I'm like, I'm out. I have friends that play Destiny. I cannot. can't get back into it. It's just it does not hold my attention enough. So that's why I tend to stick away from MMO and MMO adjacents, because I hate grinding. I hate grinding, which is ironic as heck because, again, I play Final Fantasy XIV and I just maxed out all of my crafters and gathering classes to level 90, which is the highest you can do. So, yeah.
I get where you're coming from, because
I have time for one MMO.
yeah, that's exactly it. Warframe was my one, like, okay, this is a game I'll grind for a little bit, because holy hell is it a grind every once in a while where they're like, oh, the new content's coming out, so now I'm going to give you a completely meaningless task that you'll get nothing from.
Oh my gosh.
For the next
MMOs
month.
Are so... That's the thing that always sticks me off about. You know, people make fun of Call of Duty because it's like hallway sim. And I'm like, yeah, but at least I can see myself moving. And I'm not going from point A to point B back to point A just to say, hey, I gave them this. Let me have my reward. Like, and which is ironic again because I play D&D, and that's kind of what you do. But oh my gosh. So yeah.
No, yeah, I'm in the same boat where, like, I have a kid's brain, so like Warframe is cool when there's like, oh, a lot of stuff just dropped. I could constantly stimulate my brain for the next week, and then it'll grow old and I'll wait for the next update. But when it comes to other stuff, half the time I'll be honest with you, I'm a Fortnite baby. I'll just drop into Fortnite. I'm like, oh wow, the colors.
You know what was funny? So I play Apex with Sage and Shay, a few others, and that was my first battle royale that I played. And because I looked at Fortnite and I was like, I don't like this. It's too colorful. I don't like the style. And then they started adding in people like Darth Vader, Thanos, and now to their credit, watching Thanos hit the gritty is hilarious to me for whatever reason. I swear the internet has poisoned my brain and my sense of humor. It used to be okay, and now I'll laugh at a meme that looks like it's been deep fried 4 times with the letter E and glowing red eyes, and I'm like, that's fucking hilarious.
That's the coolest shit I've ever seen.
And I'm just like, oh my god, the internet's ruined my sense of humor. And so I was taking a break from Apex, and one of my friends was like, hey, play Fortnite with us. And I was like, fine, if I'm gonna play something, it's, you know, it's kind of like Apex, it's a battle royale, it's got guns, I can shoot, sure, whatever. So I load in to the no build mode, because the build mode is
dog water.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I do not like, I didn't even try it. I don't like the look of it. I think it looks dumb, and I'm not gonna sit there and watch people build an IKEA fort in 4 seconds while I'm sitting here trying to put up a wall, and I'm just like, okay, well, I see how this is going. So I loaded in, and my very first game ever, winner, chicken dinner, with like 8 kills, 9 kills, something like that. And I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'm pretty decent at Fortnite, I guess. So I started playing it with friends, and I don't play it often because I'm only going to play it with friends, and they don't play terribly often. They're not the best, and they say this themselves. I'm not saying this towards them, but they're not very good at first-person shooters because it's not their game. It's just not their typical go-to game. They'll play it to enjoy it, but that's about it. But it's just one of those. I'm like, kind of grew on me, but I'm just like, the cartooniness kind of puts me off. And then I see some of the cool skins, and I'm like, I want to go be Leon.
Oh, I know, cool. Right? Yeah, I want to be Leon. Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm gonna say this, I'm kind of the same way with like first-person shooters. Like, I'm playing the Resident Evil remake just by myself for fun. I love it so much.
So good.
It is so much fun. I adore that game.
I do miss her red dress. I miss Ada's red dress. That was so iconic, and they took that away from me. I literally modded it in my game. I was like, I'm not doing this without her red dress.
Never forget what they took from you. But
exactly. They took my favorite line out of the game too.
They also took what would they take out? The Salazar robot that breaks my heart.
I know, we got a reference to it, but
not the same.
I get to go through that again. Yeah, I know, right?
But
yep, see, Daki in here agrees. Ada, yep. Mm-hmm.
But
100%.
I will say this: Apex, like I've played Apex before, I'm just, and I figured it out. I'm bad at video games, but you don't have to be good at video games to play Fortnite. I can get on Fortnite and I can win. Like, I could win within 3 games because everybody who's on there is 8.5. Like, their 9th birthday is coming up, and I'm a grown ass man, and I'm gonna come.
Foxy, you were literally doing that challenge of, yeah, I couldn't beat 108-year-olds, but give me, or I couldn't beat what was it? I couldn't beat did you go look up how many 8-year-olds you could take in a fight? I bet you did. There was a website for that. I bet you looked that up, didn't you?
Of course.
Can I take in a fight? Yeah.
Oh, of course I did. They suck, man. I'll keep doing. I'll keep beating them up. Every time they get on Fortnite, like I wish. Well, I don't know. Does Fortnite have proximity chat? I haven't even checked.
I don't know. I don't think they have. I know they have it with their own team, but I don't think they have it proximity chat like Warzone, which part of me really wants to get into Warzone just because of the hilariousness of proximity chat.
Oh, I love it.
But I also have to be careful because I'm streaming.
Yeah, oh, true as well. Because some Call of Duty, Call of Duty fans, they are who they are, and it's just a danger.
Say, on one hand, I miss the good old Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. But dear God, could I not stream in them? That's for sure.
No way, absolutely not. It's absolutely impossible. And I'll say this: just VoIP fun. I wish I could enjoy doing some proximity chat on Tarkov, but you have to be good at video games to play Tarkov.
Yeah, Tarkov's a whole nother monster that even I'm just like, I have it. I play it on the rare occasion, but I have a buddy of mine who kind of like helps me through it because I am just so lost. I'm just like, I don't get this. Like, and it's weird because I'm very familiar with guns, but Tarkov's whole system is just mind-boggling. Like, granted, it's no Star Citizen levels of insanity. But still, you have to know what you're doing. It is not very forgiving to new players at all.
Yeah, they'll just come. Yeah, you'll play with someone, and they're like, "Don't worry, I have a chart on what's the most aerodynamic bullet for each gun up on my phone right now. So just let me know what you pick up." And you're like, "Huh?" And then when you're sitting there trying to like listen like for callouts because you don't have like the external like buddy app to look at the map, and then the American sniper like guns you down from 5,000 yards away,
and then your teammates yelling at you, "I told you he was there in the building 4 clicks out,
they're
320 degrees to the east," and you're like, "I don't have a compass, I don't have a mini map. What do you mean?"
They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, did you not see the pixel on the bottom right hand corner of your screen?" And you're like, "No, I didn't. I want to play other things. I don't like this."
Tarkov, I can do like a 2-hour session of Tarkov, mostly because that's like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah,
that's all I can handle. It's so like, I'm sure it would be really fun with friends and with people that like know the game, which it is. When me and my buddy play, I do have fun. But that's very rare, so I don't touch it unless I'm playing with somebody because I refuse to do that solo.
No, I did it solo once. It's such a sad experience because like,
I mean, on the positive side of playing solo, you know who your enemies are. Anyone who's not you.
Yeah, I'm so I don't know if you feel this way, but like like Scav Karma. Like, I am so stupid. Like, they're like, I've played with someone and they're like, "How do you not get it?" I'm like, "Well, I'm blind." So like when somebody comes on the screen, I just start blasting. But they're like, he was wearing a yarn hat. You thought that guy was military?
I don't know these people.
I'm like, I don't know.
The other guys
background.
could be wearing yarn hats for all I know.
I'm like, it could be Christmas, motherfucker. I don't know what's going on right now. And they're like, "No, I'm sorry. The guy that's wearing riot gear. That's the guy you have to shoot when you're a scav." I'm like, "But that guy had a T-shirt that said, 'I like Maruchan,' and I thought he was an enemy." I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, and then I'm gonna go up to this guy in full riot gear while I'm in a T-shirt and short shorts, going, "Hey, buddy, give me your stuff," and he's gonna look at me and go, "Dang," and I'm dead. Meanwhile, I put half a mag into him, and he's just laughing at me because, "Oh, you didn't have the 7.62 AP round. You had 7.62 standard rounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might as well just be shooting blanks at this point.
Yeah, and then he's going to swiftly conduct open heart surgery on you. Like, in 0.2 seconds, you're going to be in open cavity. I hate it.
Closed casket funeral only, please.
That's right. This is not meant for any public consumption. But my woes with Tarkov run deep because I'm, like I said, bad at video games. You can't be bad at video games and play Tarkov, or like honestly.
Or you can't be bad at it and have at video games and play Tarkov and have fun.
Oh yeah, you definitely aren't having fun if you
alone. You can have fun with a group if you're just goofing around, but
yeah, like if you hear footsteps and you're like you're like, okay, I'm gonna hit proximity chat, and you're like in a closet or something, you could probably have a dialogue with that person before they kill you, and that might be fun. But otherwise, you're gonna be alt F4ing into a game that you will last a little bit longer in.
As Sage and I say in Apex, back to the lobby with you.
Back to the be gone. Back to Q, loser.
Yep.
And this makes me bring it up because I as far as like games that I chronically could never have fun in, I have to ask, how do you cut it in League? How do you do it?
So it used to be that I was very, very big into League. I loved it. And I had a great time, and then I realized that in actuality, I was not having a good time. I was tricking myself into thinking I was having a good time. And there's nothing, well, I shouldn't say there's nothing wrong with the game itself, but inherently, League is fine. I can have fun playing it. I can have fun playing it solo. I mean, I did a 12-hour stream of it, only made it 8 hours, in part to me just getting frustrated at it, but also because I had like 5 crashes in the span of 8 hours, which was not great.
Very frustrating.
I was released at 8 hours. And I cannot tell you that I had an amazing time with it, but I can't say that I had a horrible time with it. I think it's fun for me to a point. It's one of those games that I can pick up, play for a few hours, and then stop, and I'm perfectly happy with it. But if I have to play it for an extended amount of time, especially solo, then I get more frustrated at it. And it's not even at the game itself; it's more at the player mentality, because League's issue is less so the game and their spaghetti coding. It's more of the spaghetti coding of your teammates' brains. Not because they don't think. That's part of it. But it's more so where you sit there and it's like, I get the old adage, throw enough crap at the wall and eventually something's going to stick. But there's only so many times that you can run into face first into a brick wall before you realize that's not a brick wall. That's steel, and you're not getting through it, buddy. Please stop feeding the 25-0 Zed. So
I can feel it. Just even as talking about a story moment, I can feel like the seething rage that bubbles underneath when you talk about it. So I feel very validated.
And that's not even the worst part. I could forgive them for trying their best at killing this 25-0 Zed. I can forgive that in them dying. I can forgive that if it weren't for the fact that they would sit there and go, my team sucks. Buddy, you're the one that was 4-0 before 10 minutes. We're not the problem. You just don't know how to play against this person, and that's okay. That's okay to not know how to lane against people, because there's 130-something champions or more. I forget. There's a lot of champions. For someone to sit there and know what exactly each one does, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you don't play against this character often. Maybe you're newer to the game, and that's fine. But don't sit there and try to pass off your failures as your team's failure, because that's what pisses me off. Because I'm a support player, so I don't play for myself, I play for the team. So if I see that my bot laner is, 0-4, and I'm, even if I'm matching them, or if I'm 0-0, I'm going to go leave them. And I'm going to go to the 5-0 top lane or 5-2 top lane because they're having a much better time and they're going to be way more worth my time. But then that ADC player goes and tries to 1v2 them every single time, not managing the lane, just keeps pushing, face checking bushes, all that jazz, and then wonders why they're 0-10 and I'm not there helping them to feed the bot lane. And I'm like, no, that's not how this is going to work.
My only experience with League was I had some friends that were like, you know, resident League players, and they're like, hey, you should give it a shot. And I was like, okay, that's inviting. And then I think the rotation that was the free rotation at the time included Tom Kench, and I was like, ooh, catfish. I was like, that sounds like fun. And then
love-hate relationship with him.
I you know, he's definitely a character that you could just grieve the fuck out of your teammates with. By if you're stupid like me, it's not even intentional. You just grieve your teammates with them, and they're like, "What is wrong? Are you brain dead?" Like even in a bot game, you'll get like,
"Are you brain dead?" Yes,
yes, I am actually brain dead. Please forgive me. But then they'll write like, they will write the first draft of their Stephen King novel about how much you fucking suck in the text chat, and they'll be like, and then they'll DC, and you're like, "Oh, cool, that's really nice." This is a welcoming community.
Yeah, and you know, and the sad part is that with League, you don't know how much experience a player has. I mean, I've got almost 500,000 mastery points on Morgana, which in theory means that I played Morgana a lot, and I should be very good with Morgana. That's my #1 champion. I love her to death. Other people don't, I'll tell you that much. Especially not with my build. But I have games where I go 8-3-21, and then I have games where I go 0-7-4. Like, it's just, no one has perfect games all the time. But League players seem to think that they've never had a bad game before. I always see the one going, "Oh, well, you're crap. You know, you're 0-4," and I'm like, okay, yes, but the jungler basically lives down here, so it's a 3v2. We're getting dove under tower. Like, we're not even out in the lane. We're under tower, still dying. And our jungler's AFK farming. I haven't seen him in your lane. I haven't seen him in top lane. That man's just been AFK farming this whole time. And then it's still bot diff. I'm like, okay, guy. And he's like, well, this is why you're in silver. Because I never go past gold. Once I get gold, I stop. I don't want to play any more past gold because I don't see a reason to. I get the cool skin. That's all I want. I just want the cool skin. And then I stop. But I get people going, well, this is why you're in silver. And I'm like, buddy, hate to break it to you. You're here too.
That's the thing. Oh, I hate that. One game I used to, this is such a self-report, by the way, because like this is a red flag for any person. I used to play a lot of ranked Overwatch at one point, and that game made me very heated. And it wasn't like I was never active in like text chat, or I would listen in, of course, for callouts and such. I was a little less. I was a meek little fellow. I wasn't making a lot, so that's on me. But I would go in, and like the community, like it gets so toxic at some point where like even the meta, you're like, I hate that there's a meta, but then you'll go in, and then your teammate who you've never met before will pick, like Overwatch 2 just dropped, and then they Doomfist has been made into a tank and he sucks, and then they'll pick Doomfist, and you're like, God damn, like you're like, I'm gonna go punch something. I'm so upset. Like games get you to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm done playing this game. I want to be a happy person. Overwatch 2 is that for me.
Yes. Speaking of Overwatch, let me tell you my experience with Overwatch was,
well, please.
With the original Overwatch, me and my buddy, we would play ranked, and I don't even remember because this was back in season. I think I have up to the badges of season 3 or 4, and that's when I stopped playing. Whenever they did the Mercy rework was when I stopped playing. But before then, in competitive, I had 40 hours of Mercy. My next highest champion, or not champion, my next highest hero was Lucio with a grand total of 2 hours, followed by Mei with a grand total of 15 minutes.
Oh man.
So
Yeah. It was such a I remember that Switch because like oh Mercy was it. I mean, obviously life finds a way and whatnot. People main Mercy just fine, but like past one Mercy that was my fun in Overwatch.
That was the bread and butter. That was my bread and butter, and I still only play support and still try to only play Mercy unless I'm on Helios, I think is what it is. And then I'm Lucio, bopping people off the map.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because if I'm not having fun because I'm playing Overwatch, neither can you.
That's right. Oh, I love to play a little Roadhog because people are like, you suck at the game, and I'm like, I totally do, but this is so much fun. Like I have a little bit of aim assist with my hook, and there's a big hole in the center of this map, and you, my guy, are going to live in it.
And you're looking like you want a free ticket down there.
That's right. I like to play characters that make me smile, and one of those characters that I wish I was good at Lucio, because Lucio's like I used to watch like top 500 Lucio players. Like, man, they're playing like aggressive inline for the PS2 right now. They're not even playing Overwatch. They're just like skating all over the map, booping people off. They're listening to like an NPR like radio channel at the same time.
A good Lucio scares me.
Oh, they're so scary.
Not as a Mercy main, say, but just as well, I shouldn't say as a Overwatch player, but as a former Overwatch player, good Lucio scares me.
Good, yeah, not even just like the fact that they can separate you from your team in like a millisecond, like when they get up on you. It's the fact that like when they have the ability to aim, they can kind of laser through you. They just put you in a corner, and they're just like, "You're goodbye. You were no longer."
Good night.
So
back to the respawn.
That's the thing. And then when I play Lucio, I'm like very grounded. Like I can't get the speed. Like I'll do like a couple wall rides, and that's it.
Yeah, see, I do my best to stay up on the walls, up moving, because people in video games in general just have a hard time looking up.
Yeah.
They don't look up, and I'm not sure why.
It's
check corners.
Scary.
They won't check the ceiling. And I'm just sitting up there like Spider-Man, like, hey.
You go hippity hop, and then they're gone forever.
Hippity hoppity, get the off my property.
That's right. I think some people just want to play Doom. They don't want to deal with that pesky little upper y-axis. That's a whole problem. Like the floor, that's not a problem. I can deal with the floor. If there's somebody crawling around, okay with me. But I'm more of a hallway man myself. Let's get in a enclosed building. Let's melee each other.
That's why I see it. One of my favorite genres is horror.
Oh, yeah.
I really wish they would put more stuff on ceilings.
Yeah, cause I'm sure, since we briefly mentioned Resident Evil 4 and how much we really like that game, I'm sure you played the Resident Evil 2 remake when it came out. There's like, that game, I don't consider those games to be particularly, I really love the ambiance, but it's not something that's going to like jump scare me. There is one part in Resident Evil 2 when you're going to first unlock the armory, and one of those fucking ceiling creatures pops down for the first time.
The lickers, yeah.
Yeah, the licker pops down. That genuinely got me to like jump, and then brought a tear to my eye. I was so spooked, because I was like, oh, it's just, I'm used to where I'm at now. And when the licker first popped out, that was a ceiling event I wasn't ready for.
That's why I can't remember the game, and I think it's like 1814 or no, it wasn't 1814. I can't remember what it was, or maybe it was like the summer of 1810 or something like that. I can't remember. There's a scene where it's like you have night vision goggles on, and so you're seeing all the green, and you're like in this this bathroom, and then like you're looking at this one section, and you see something dripping from the ceiling. So of course, as gamers, our natural instinct is to go, "What's that?" And that was the jump scare, and I'm like, That we need more of.
Yeah, I love it. You're right. I think we get ceiling monsters and more ceiling bits. That's what we need. I'm a huge horror weenie though. I've been on record by saying this, and I think it's probably the best place to be in, like to enjoy horror. If your threshold for being scared is really low, then shit's just kind of fun. You're like, oh, I could spook myself out. Probably.
Oh, if you look at my tags, I do have comfort streamer on because that's what I want people to be. Want people to view me as. Like, I want them not necessarily to have to come in, interact, chat, and all that, but more. I've had a rough day. I want to listen to something, but you know, I can't be bothered to go surf YouTube for that video. I want them to go, oh, video streaming, and just put me on in the background and enjoy themselves. Which is ironic because I stream a lot worse. And I love it. I love horror games, and my chat loves to make me wear a heart rate monitor. And I think it was Seti and or Jenny that made this comment. They were like, I don't understand how when something scary happens, your heart rate goes down, not up.
Yeah.
My heart rate is constantly around, unless I'm like moving physically, is around a good 56 to 62 beats per minute. And, you know, the only time it gives, it was Sephi, yeah. The only time it goes into triple digits is when, like, someone redeems a stretch, and I'm just, like, making this big stretch, and then see the numbers skyrocket 50, 60, 70, 90, 110, and I'm like, okay, and then it just drops back down.
I remember, Zell, we were talking one day, and it was during the time that you were playing Dead Space, the Dead Space remake, and he I could tell he was talking about how low your heart rate was even for the scary parts. But I remember talking to him, and he was so, like, he watched you the whole week play this game. He was so on edge. That was not a comfort stream for him. He was so, he was like, I'm really, like, he apologized, I think. He was like, I'm sorry. I've been really stressed out because I've been watching Rito play this game all week. So, yeah, I could see where your dilemma comes in, where you're like, oh, I want to be cozy, but by
half the time I'm making fun of it because, like, yeah, especially with Dead Space. I've never played Dead Space. I didn't play the series beforehand. Not that I didn't have an interest in it, but it was kind of one of those games that I missed when it came out. And you can sit there and go, well, graphics don't make game and all that, da-da-da-da-da. But there's just some games that I can't go back and play because they just don't look appealing to me because of their graphic quality.
Mm.
Which I know I'm probably missing out on a lot of games for that. And I understand that. The game has to look, feel nice to really make me want to play it, especially on stream. So when they introduced Dead Space Remake, I was like, yeah. I was ready. And I got it. And I'm like, there's a Vine, not a Vine, oh man. Remember Vine?
Oh man.
There was a YouTube short or a TikTok going around of this guy like chasing, it was using Ethan, is that his name? Ethan?
Oh,
Isaac's model.
Okay.
Going, the creature, he's like, come here! And the creature's running away from him, and he goes, you're not the, I'm not the monster, you're the monster, scare me! And I'm like, yeah, that's me right there.
You're a different breed when it comes to it, because it's not me.
I chase the things chasing me and going, no, you gotta do better than that. Come here.
Yeah, you're literally those. I don't know if you ever see like those unmarked like live streams on like TikTok or something, where it's somebody in like an abandoned strip mall.
Oh my god, I want to do that so bad. That looks so cool.
I honestly kind of want to do that too, because that looks like it'd be fucking sweet. But like, I could totally see you being the guy that's like, because I see some like aggressive fucking people where they're like being there and they're just talking, chatting. Then they'll hear something drop, and then they will sprint like they're in the fucking Olympics to go see what happened in that room. And I'm like,
you should see me playing Phasmo in Demonologist. I'll sit there and something will happen and I go, yeah? You want to fight me over this? Come on, do something. And then like the ghost isn't doing anything. I'm like, man, you're just a flaccid ghost, huh? Just so flaccid. I bet your wife wishes she had some Viagra for you. This right here, it ain't doing it for me, and I know it's not doing it for you. Come on, give me something. I am aggressive, especially towards like ghost hunting games. I am aggressive towards the ghost. The ghost. Steffi's over here saying the ghost knows who to bully.
That's right. They know they can't fuck around with you. There's other prey on the table, which is why I'm here because
Sometimes I die. Yes, that's true.
on occasion, just on
Hey,
occasion if you
listen.
feel like feeding it to them.
If I could, I would fist fight that ghost. I would. I just put my gloves on. Let's go. I'm ready. Throw down. You kill me. No, or you kill me. No, I kill you again.
Double dead. Sick it. I realize now. I just had this like that feeling when you're like 5 and you become sentient or something. I just had this thought and I was like, oh wow, we've we went into the trenches just then. Well, we hopped from
that was in the
Tarkov.
back of my mind, and I was gonna say something, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna see how long I can ride this.
Honestly, I'm fine with it. That's cool. That voice crack is the voice crack of approval. By the way, it's that's what I want the most out of this. Is you know, it's a showcase everybody, and this is the best way to see the personality. But I guess I have to be a corporate boss man at some point, and I have to be like, oh, I should ask a question or two that's related to
All right, hit me
what
with the next question. Let's go. We got this.
Okay, yeah,
back on topic.
Let's back to it. We're getting to our final little bits here. So let's go ahead and hit it because I feel like I'm going to rephrase my questions because you've been given some fatherly advice, and I think we all need a little more fatherly advice. So you know what? Instead of what you would have done in the past, how about for all those wee little babies like we were at some point, don't know how to start getting into either VTubing, the space, streaming in general, whatever they want to do creatively, and they're like, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to do it. How would you urge them to take that step to be like, hey, just get in there?
Well, I want you to log into your bank account. I want you to see those numbers. Goodbye. Hobby. I cosplay. And that used to take up a lot of money because I'd buy the materials. And sure, I could buy the cosplay for $80, but why do that when I can make it for $250?
That's right.
VTubing for me, for getting into it, honestly, don't look at all of these people with these moving models and think that you have to be them. Sit there and go, well, they spent $4,000 just on their art, and then another $3,000 on the rigging. So I have to spend, an equal $7,000 to get my. No, don't do that. Don't do that. First of all, find out if it's something you like, because you may not like streaming. Streaming is its own sort of, I don't want to say mindset, but it really is. You have to have a specific mindset to really stream because there's a lot of people. I mean, you just browse to Twitch. There's thousands of people streaming at any given time. And you have to have that mindset of not getting discouraged because your first couple streams, you have one person. You may not have any person. It's not always going to seem like you're doing well. But you have to have the mindset of, okay, that's okay. It's fine. Doesn't bother me. Because if you get into your mindset that your numbers are all that you are, then you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure in that regards. Because I've seen somebody, one of a cosplayer that I follow, and she's got thousands and thousands of followers. I'm sure actually she's got like tens of thousands of followers. She started doing VTubing, and even though she advertises it on her channel, she had like 10 viewers, 15. So just because, the first few times don't work out doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. I mean, I'm still relatively small. I average about 10 viewers per stream, or at least that's what Twitch analytics are telling me. But I remember when I had 3 people and I was getting an average of 1.2. So don't get discouraged and very in your mind about the numbers, because it's about repetition. Set yourself a schedule and just stick to it. If you don't get people, that's fine. Network, meet people. I can't tell you how many people are in my chat because of other people that come by and go, hey, this guy's pretty great. I kind of like him, so I'm going to stick around. So, and I mean, even other streamers. I mean, heck, Sephi, Daki, Jenny, I see them at least once or twice in my streams, if not more, depending on whatever they're doing. They have their own lives. They still take time out of their out of their day to come say hi, to spend time with me. And that just builds. So you can't have it in your mindset that you're going to go out here and succeed instantly, because it's just not going to happen. We know Pixel. I remember when Pixel was playing Poke 1 with like 2 viewers. And now look at her. She's doing great. Now she's moving, she has another platform that she's streaming on as well, getting views on. So it just builds naturally. Because if you try to force something, it doesn't typically tend to pan out very well. And then going back into looking at what other people have versus what you have, I still don't have a model. I'm still just a PNG tuber. And I'll be flat out honest with you. Yia charged me $120 for this. And it's great. It's fantastic. And it suits the purposes that I need. It puts an image on screen that when I speak, the mouth moves and it blinks, which gives it a little bit more animated quality. So for $120, this has lasted me almost an entire year of my streaming. Or if you really want a 3D model, go look at what's out there. Vroid Studio is a perfect example of a free software that you can make your model from. And that gives you, you can go and make your own clothes, you can adjust the face, it gives you that option to make something and see if you want to do it. Because it is, I literally sit here, and I wasn't joking when I said I clock out of work and look down at my computer. That's almost what happens. So I go straight from work to, in a word, back to work, because streaming eventually I would like to become my job. If I don't make it, so be it. I'm not concerned about it, because guess what? I have my primary job. But if this does end up being off, then great. I'm doing something that I love, being with the people that I love. So don't sit there and get discouraged because you see people spending thousands of dollars on models, thousands of dollars on, all that jazz, these people having tons and tons of viewers, and just do it to have fun. If you want it for a job, that's fine, but do it for fun, not because you're there to try to make money. That will come later, hopefully, but don't have that in your mindset initially.
I think that is a wonderfully eloquent way to put that, because, I came in for, when I started, I managed my expectations. That's the best part about it. Like, I had lofty goals, but I definitely managed my expectations to be like, hey, you're going to stream and there's going to be not a soul there, because you weren't doing anything besides anything before Twitch, so there's nothing to transfer.
And that's why I threw in that story about that cosplayer. Just because you have some following beforehand does not mean that it will translate over very well. Again, you have tens of thousands of followers and yet only 20, 30 viewers. That's a huge disparity. But you can't look at it like that. The way I look at things is I look at my viewers and I go, these people, I very much appreciate them because they took, and I try to say that at the end of every stream, I say, thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. You could have spent it anywhere else. You decided to spend it with me. Even if it's just pulling up my page to say hi and walking away. You still took time out of your day to do that for me.
Yeah, it's really humbling to have people want to stop by and watch. And I'll say my goals have greatly changed. Like you said, if this blows up and people like it and it becomes viable money comes through somehow, I think that's really awesome, and it'd be really cool to get into. But now at this point, I'm gonna keep doing it regardless. But I just, you know, I've met people now, and it's like, wow, that's really cool. I didn't think that was something that would happen. I thought it'd just be kind of like some dude on the internet. But now it's like I've met other dudes on the internet, and they're fucking sweet, and just like, I'm not necessarily here to like squeeze money out of Twitch, though I will given the opportunity.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, no mercy. By the way, if that ever comes up, I'm ruthless.
100%.
I'm gonna fuck it up. But
stick the knife in and twist.
That's right. No mercy. That's what this is. This is a warning, actually. But and now it's like, well, now I just, you know, I want to meet more people. I want to be able to do this more, and I wouldn't be talking to you now. I wouldn't have been talking to Seffi. I wouldn't have been talking to anybody else if my mindset didn't really change over time. So I think there's a lot more to get out of this than just like the prospects of being huge, big, famous. You'll never have a moment alone kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I look at it this way: all the people that I've met, all the people that I interact with now, if someone were to tell me, never talk to them again, and I will guarantee you 6 figures while you stream, I wouldn't take it.
Yeah, no way.
Because I would miss all of the connections that I've made. I would miss them because the people that I'm around a lot, I love them to death. They are fantastic people, and I wouldn't trade them in for that, because then, you know, I'm left with just me, myself, and I, and then all that jazz and all the headaches that brings. But instead, I get to be here, be my dumbass self, and, you know, these people have become these people that majority of them I have not seen. I've never seen their face, or and you know, a vast majority of them I've never met in person, and I may never meet them in person, but them any less special to me.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't trade that connection for anything.
Yeah, no way. At this point, I've met too. I think about it as like, yes, like if I were somehow in the good graces of Twitch and I did have that massive audience, I'm sure it'd be great to meet the biggest Hollow Live VTubers there are, and rub elbows with the elite of Twitch. But I would miss who I've met so far too much, and I'd rather like be, you know, with them wherever they go. I feel like that's a lot more fulfilling, at least from my point of view at this point in time. Maybe I'll become desensitized and a monster. You know, I don't want to leave it out the door. We'll leave our options on the table. But you know, but like you said, I love who I've met so far, and I want more than anything to watch everyone succeed and live their best life on the internet, because it's not an opportunity many people get to get. And now that we're all saying highs and hellos all the time, it's cool to see everybody kind of like shoot up, and you're like, wow. Like I'll get online and I'm like, wow, I'm watching all these people grow exponentially over time. It's also cool to have that privilege.
And the one other thing that I'll throw in, and this is the primary reason that I started streaming, you're going to be sitting there playing a video game anyway. Why not? What do you have to lose?
That's true, yeah.
If you're thinking about it and you're like me and you basically go from work to going to play a video game because who has a social life, you know? That's for the cool kids. Why not do it? That's why I started, because I was sitting here playing video games anyway, and I was like, I could be streaming. And then a thought came across my mind. Well, why aren't you?
Yeah, why not?
And I was like, you raise a valid point. So, and here's where we are.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to park my little tour bus here, because I wanted to leave it off on a like an impactful note, and I think that's the best way to put it, is that it's hard to get over those fears of wanting to be in the space, and it really, there's a lot that it offers, and it's easier than you think at the end of the day. And you'll have bad days, but you'll get past those, and you'll get to the goodies. You'll get to the fun days where you get to meet other people and all that. And I think that's the best part.
I actually wanted to show you, if you were interested. So you remember how I was talking about how uh, you don't have to have something very grand and very flashy. I'd like to show you, and by extension, the audience members, where I started, like what I started with, because I literally took. I just sent you an image, and I'll put up on mine. Um, but I took this image and went through with Photoshop, cut it out, and used that as my PNG. And that was the first iteration that I ever had of of this whole concept of mine. Let's see if I can add it in here real quick.
Getting mine set up real quick too. Yeah.
Because I mean, this is where I started. I mean, you can see a vast difference, and granted, it's partially down to the art style. But I was brand new. I went on Etsy, found someone who did art, and was like, okay, here's my base. This is what I'm going to go off of. And this was the very start of it. And now look at me. So you don't have to have something big and flashy to begin with. You can work your way up. You can, I mean, I see VTubers all the time. Here's version 2.0. Here's version 3.0. And I myself, I plan to get multiple models just because there's a lot of artist styles that I like. So I'm like, if I have the excess cash to do it, why not? Am I making a loss on this in the long run? Yeah, probably. Do I care? No, this is not my job. It's my hobby at the end of the day. So I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to have fun my way. And if throwing a bunch of money at this is my way of having fun, then, so be it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you don't have to start big. You don't have to start $1,000. I mean, I have a friend who she streams on a laptop, of all things. 2 friends, actually. They both stream on a laptop, and they run a live 2D VTuber model.
Yeah.
I'm like, you absolute mad lad. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Sully and Echo. I know you're not here, but looking at you two, absolute mad lads. So you can start a nice little PNG on a laptop. Really, I wouldn't say cheap, because even a decent laptop is what, $1,000, something like that.
Yeah, it runs pretty steep these days.
So I'm not gonna sit there and pretend that it can be cheap, but at the end of the day, if this is something that you want to do, you probably already have a computer, and you're just playing games. So if streaming is something that you've been thinking about getting into, try it out. The worst that you're going to do is find out that being a internet personality is not something for you. And it's true, it's not for everybody. But you find, if you do like it, you find what works for you, and you just stick to it. And don't let other people tell you how to run your stuff. And I mean, advice is advice. Good advice is good advice, or advice is advice in general. But don't let anyone put you down for what you have or for what your goals are. And there's nothing wrong with creating lofty goals. Like, I told myself I wanted to get partner by the end of this year. Well, I'm 4 months in. I don't think I'm going to hit partner by the end of the year. But guess what? That's okay, because there's next year and the following year. Eventually, I'll hit it. So set a goal, set some realistic goals, but then set a lofty goal or two, because you never know what happens. You might hit a great windfall, and you may be in the right place at the right time. You may have just that really appealing personality that the internet brings out in you. So try it out. Have fun.
You'll love it, or you won't, and that's okay. Like you said, any outcome that happens is fine, as long as you learn to accept that something will happen. You'll be on the other side of whatever does happen, and you'll learn either way. Likely, the thing is, you'll start to see it as a hobby, and you'll enjoy it in that sort of way. Because I mean, if you're into Twitch culture and know what you like, you'll likely just kind of settle into what you like to do, and that will be a lot more satisfying than you could ever know at this point, not having done it already. So I think that's wonderful words of wisdom from a very, very wise tuber that we have on. And I want to just set the final floor here. I want to give you the reins to plug yourself in any way and say whatever final thoughts you have. Just give it off. You've been a wonderful guest. I had a hell of a good time talking all things D&D favorite games. Like we went across the board. We went pretty deep into a lot of fields, and I couldn't have asked for a better outcome personally. So thank you so much for wanting to be a guest and being an absolute delight to have on. So here you go. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
The joke's on you. I told you. I was just merely giving you, letting you borrow the reins. No, I've had a lot of fun. I don't often get a chance to actually just sit there and talk. Honestly, because, and like I said, and this is not me saying, "Oh, boo-hoo, I wish it wasn't this way," because I love my community that I have. They're fantastic people, but I have a lot of lurkers. So I get some people who get chatty. I have some people who don't, and whatever your style is, that's fine and dandy. But being able to sit here and just talk has been so great. I'm glad I got to do this, because as you can tell, the more I get excited, the more I will dance around topics and jump from A to B to F down to Z. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I had a blast. And thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you to both Zell and Foxy for having me. And most importantly, thank you to you all watching, just listening to us go on and on about some stuff that kind of makes sense, and then other just, let's face it, we're just getting our frustrations out about certain games. But it's been fantastic to be here, and if you ever need me again in the future, just send that message over.
Oh, you got you opened the door wide open. You let the vampire in your house.
That's fine. Listen, I'll sit here and I will have a crash course D&D session with you. I'll go get a PNG of a professor's hat, and we'll have D&D time with Foxy and Rito, where you just ask questions, and I'm like, okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Oh my god, you've already created the content for me. I'm already in it. I'm ready to do it.
Just saying.
I will draw four PNGs of me looking very scholarly, and I will be ready to go. I swear. Zeltos, pencil this in. We've got the next one. You want to do the
scholarly? You don't want to. I mean, come on, we're playing D&D. Why don't you make a wizard Foxy, a cleric Foxy, a fighter Foxy, a monk Foxy? Come on, man. Oh man, get the classes so that way they know.
This is why you're the thinker between the two of us. You see, I'm not even doing the work. All I gotta do, like I said, I'm Unga Bunga guy. You point and I go smash rock, and I've got. It looks like I've got tasks to do. So,
listen, I think of myself the same way, except my Unga Bunga is in italics. So we're not too different, you and I.
That's right. Monk Foxy, I'll get that in there. I'll do a whole party of Foxies, and I'm gonna open up like 7 different iterations of Vito 2 Mini, and I'm gonna have them all talk at the same time, like a chorus.
Oh, your poor computer. I know it's easy, but
yeah, my computer is gonna my stream crashes just from playing like a Minesweeper. So yeah, my computer is gonna like heat to the surface of the sun, and then it'll be the last stream ever.
Hey, but it'll be a glorious one.
It will be such a good one, and we'll get to it. You've let me in. It's already go. We have a shared task book with Zeltos, and he's already put it in the task book. So there you go.
Love it.
Absolutely
love it.
There you go. That was the boy Rito. What an excellent stream. I'm going to demote you to the general chat, so I'm going to let you say goodbye.
Alrighty.
All right, everybody wave to the good fellow. He is on his way out. Goodbye, Rito. Have a wonderful
Take care,
night,
everybody.
Bye.
You as well, Bye bye.
And there he goes. Damn to general. We've slain Rito. I can see Zeltos is actively upgrading. I have so many Foxies to create now for the D&D question stream, and I couldn't be more excited for it. That was a hell of a time. Rito is wrapping up his side of the stream, so I'm going to tell you guys something in confidence. Don't tell Rito, okay? Just don't say this. I think I'm in love with the man. Just don't tell him that. Oh, fuck, his PNG just popped up. Does that mean he's here? Get him out. Go, shoot.
God.
God damn it! No, he has rights to be in here. Oh my god! You didn't hear anything, did you? Nothing special.
Yeah.
I need to go.
Come back and checking in on you. Just making sure you weren't talking crap. I had a feeling.
I think I need to go change some settings. I need to go return some VHS tapes. I'm so sorry.
Don't forget to rewind them, sir. They'll charge you if you don't.
Oh god, you know what? I think here's the better thing. Rito, I'm going to disconnect from this channel.
I'm going to. I just had to mess with you.
You know what? I knew it was going to bite me, but there you go. Rito the trickster has come back for a second round. We love you. I'm signing off. Have a wonderful Actually, let me go ahead and ask: Are you continuing streaming after this? Should I dump the fellas onto you?
I was heavily considering it, and if you do, then by all means, come on over. You know what? Actually, I do feel like going on a good murder spree with some Dead by Daylight. I can do that.
Well, there you go. You've already got your surrogate streamer for the night, so let me go set you up. Let me go get their tummies filled, and then you're gonna have a whole sleepy cast of fellas. So,
take care, Foxy.
All right, see you, Rito. Bye. And there he goes. I have disconnected now, and that's a lesson in if you change permissions in your server, remember what you changed. Because I gave Rito god powers in the moment. You know what? He could have gotten away with it too if he didn't now go forget if he didn't abuse it. Pinned by Zell. Because I had the co-op channel for certain invites here, so maybe I'll let you masquerade as a Discord handler for a little bit. I have no problem with that. The co-op channel is a privilege that I have to give in the moment. So you'll get it again. We'll get it again. Now everybody get your pog hats on. I'm gonna go send you over to the man, the myth. I didn't notice before, but I like your poster. Oh, thank you. It's just a local celebrity I found. I bought at the store. I really liked it. I've heard they're really big, so maybe you should go check them out. Maybe we should give a shout out to Sephinari, I believe it is. It's a wild name. I really like it. It looks super familiar. I can't place where it's from though. Let me go ahead and say thank you, Fel and Spunky, for resubbing to the channel. You guys put a smile on my face. What can I say? Always a smile on my face. Thank you for giving the shout out to Seth. Man, I just changed how I say your name every time. I was like, it's Seth, it's Sephi, it's Sephinari, it's Cephalopagus. It's the whole deal. Love to everybody. I'm sending you off to Rito, which I realize I'm a bad friend. I'm who? I thought this whole time I was following, and now I'm gonna look like such a poser when I go in with you guys. So you guys gotta, it's okay, biblically accurate naming. You guys gotta be cool. Act like I didn't, like when we go in there, I did not follow. We're all sick. I've been there the whole time. I'm such a loser. I'm so sorry. Have a good night, Sephi. Have a good night, everyone. What a wonderful show. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.